boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pascoe, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. We would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. I'm a freak, yeah, I'm a freak, 'cause I'm a freak, yeah, I'm a freak.
Yeah, it's Freaky Friday. The New Zealand tormentor-in-chief, the freakish Ben Stokes, as Neil Wagner called him overnight, is back looking to kick on after another magisterial performance yesterday, an innings that gave the momentum to a solid batting show from England that leaves them on 241 for 4. Good morning, good afternoon, good dawn, good dusk, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Guerrilla Cricket. I'm Guerrilla Hendo. Occasionally go by the pseudonym of Cat Sting Hendo. If you've got any jobs for me, please, can I just plead for one? On my right, alongside me, I have a man with a name that has an initial in it. And on my left, a man who has a name with an initial in the middle. It's Knuckle Pandy.
How you doing, Hendo? How you doing, everybody?
And on my left, it's Jason G. Hiscox.
Hello, everyone.
Are you Hiscox or Hiscock?
Hiscox.
It's very difficult to say that, isn't it? Well, we're back at Mount Maunganui, and we're looking forward to another fine day of Test cricket. We love Test cricket. I even went home this morning and I watched the end of Australia-Pakistan. And of course today, I think it is, or certainly overnight, or no, not even overnight. In the morning, we get the day-night test between India and Bangladesh, do we not?
Yeah, indeed. 8 hours time, basically.
Oh, but they're just cricket, and I've got to go to the airport to pick someone up. Bugger! Anyway, let's have a look back yesterday. Solid performance, we think, from England. What do we think of Dominic Sibley on debut? I mean, you'll have seen probably more of Dominic Sibley than most of us, Jason, at the Oval before he moved to Warwickshire. Is that what you expected from him?
Kind of. He's a defensive opening batsman. He's never going to set the world afire. I was quite surprised at just quite how leg-sided he is. I don't remember him being like that, but then again, most of the games I saw him for, it was a bit of a bish bash bosh in the T20s.
Right, so you won't have seen him getting all those hundreds and double hundreds.
No, I saw the double hundred
you saw
when
the
he
double
was
hundred.
17, 18.
Yeah.
But that was him in a different incarnation as well. That was a very dominant innings from him. I mean, this new incarnation where he is much more open in his stance, and he is very solid. Like, obviously, scoring no runs at all on the offside is a bit extreme, but I did see yesterday that he scores about 2/3 of his runs in first-class cricket on the leg side, mostly in the arc between mid, sort of square leg and mid-on.
Yeah. Well, he's set up now to hit everything to the leg side pretty much with the technique that he has.
Yeah, now is that technique... I read earlier that when he had some troubles on first going to Warwickshire, he turned to Gary Palmer, who is this specialist freelance batting coach who's helped out the likes of Alistair Cook when he's had bad runs. And, well, he seemed to then flourish after that. I don't know whether anyone saw him before that. Was his stance much more closed off? It looks worryingly open to me.
Gary Palmer has this technique, and Alistair Cook took it on to some extent, where normally, we talked about this a bit yesterday, normally you're taught kind of as a batter that your feet are sort of 90 degrees to the sort of direction of where the bowler's coming in from, but he gets batters to really open themselves out so your feet are pointing down the wicket. The theory being is that you get your back leg out the way, and the bat can come down straight through the line of the ball. It might mean that you don't play through the offside quite with as much command as you might, certainly early in your innings. I mean, he didn't look at all troubled on the offside, but he wasn't hitting the ball with much.
He didn't actually try to hit very much on the offside. I mean, he left a lot outside the off stump, which is not a bad thing to do as an opening batsman, of course.
I think that's part of it too, in that he wants the bowlers to bowl to him, and he is working on the theory, and one that was borne out in his recent first class season for Warwickshire, that he'll get his rewards later by wearing the bowlers out, and it's probably not a bad ploy, but he got sort of nibbled out by Colin de Grandhomme.
He did. The great nibbler himself took the wickets of Sibley, and he also got rid of Burns, didn't he, eventually? And Burns was a funny innings, wasn't it? It was another 50, and you've got to say, well, a 50 in
It was a bit
Test
frenetic to some extent. I mean, there's a lots of large slashes at balls that are wide off stump.
Yeah,
with not much footwork and chasing it with the hands.
Yeah, not so much,
but not
like
good
an
enough
opening
to
batsman.
hit it.
No, and exactly. And I mean, I must admit, with Rory Burns, I was extremely worried after the Test against Ireland, where he looked completely out of sorts in the summer. But he actually came back and did really well against Australia. I guess we just have to accept that it's never going to be, a great viewing pleasure.
Well,
to
I
watch
wonder
Rory
that
Burns.
somebody's been in his ear again, similar to Nick Compton, and said something. Because when he got into the side, it was on the strength of being compact.
I wouldn't read too much into yesterday. It was a slightly odd pitch. It's not the kind of pitch you see much of in international cricket these days. It was a little bit tacky, I think, to start with. It did quicken up as the day went on, but the ball wasn't coming onto the bat particularly. And Rory Burns loves to score square of the wicket, particularly off the back foot. But he wasn't really able to, and so was occasionally finding himself slashing balls. But, he put the ball away when it was on his pads every now and again, and didn't look too discomforted by the short ball. But he's done some work that some of England's lower and middle order might be able to profit from, and the first man looking to profit so is this man.
I got up in Stokes, and he called me a oh, if I'd only seen that Ben Stokes was so mean.
He's going to be facing up to the nibbler-in-chief, who's going to open the bowling this morning. Colin de Grandhomme, 2 for 28 from 19 overs. He's got 2 slips. He swings it in to the left-handed Stokes, who meets this with the full face of the bat and plays it up to mid-off. We'll catch up with you on Twitter very shortly, but we should jingle up the fine bowler, the fine man that is has the cherry in his hand.
You'll get fined.
And then there was silence. I was expecting another jingle, but never mind. It's here it comes. Round the wicket again. Oh, and he's getting that to float into Stokes, but it's well wide of the off stump, and he leaves it alone. Who's joined us on the Twitter sphere, Jason?
We have Major Percy Flade, who says he almost talked to. He's at the ground, I presume, because he almost talked to our Uber supporter, Mr. Chaplin, yesterday.
Mr. Chaplin?
There was someone, one of the Barmy Army fans on the
Oh, so
grass
he was-
bank was dressed as Charlie Chaplin.
Oh, of course, okay. In comes de Grandon. I just want to say something about de Grandon opening the bowling this morning. Lovely drive, though, on drive by Ben Stokes, who just has a quick look. Oh, and just got that past the diving mid-on, and that will run all the way to the boundary for a very low-key but very well-played boundary.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
Yeah, interesting. Not Bolt, not Southey, who have 500 test wickets between them, but to a 70-mile-an-hour nibbler.
Yeah, I think it's to do with the pace on the ball, isn't it? I think that when they bowled with a second new ball, the hardness and the shininess...
It went everywhere.
It went, especially, well, these two, Ollie Pope, who again is a burgeoning talent, he really is. In he comes again, leaves this one. He was just trying to bowl a little cutter there, I think, but it was well wide of the off stump. Who else is with us?
Linux Lear's joined us, Duchess of Arthurshire. Jay Grover says, evening all, not Fred. Maybe I won't wake up hissing with irritation at 03:36 tomorrow then.
No, you won't.
Not Fred.
We've got no Freds at all.
Etiek has joined us, says evening all, coming a recurring series of Hendo dancing to random Europop on camera, which has also gone down well on YouTube.
I imagine it's broken the internet by now. Stokes waits, in comes de Grandon, and he leaves a ball good length just outside the off stump, coming in on the angle, and through to Watling it goes.
Dr. Laney Hicks has joined us. She says, evening Knuckle Pande, Gorilla Cricket. I might make it through a couple of overs before sleep. It's comforting to know that you'll be commentating through the night regardless.
Who are these
like
people?
late night to Radio 3.
Who are these people that go to bed and to sleep at 10 o'clock at night? It's extraordinary. I don't understand it
Normal
myself.
people.
Oh, yes, normal people. Sorry, I forgot about them. No, he comes right across his crease there as Stokes, just threatening, or perhaps trying to put de Grandon off. In the end, he leaves it outside the off stump, and that is the end of the first over of the morning. England have moved to 245 for 4.
And thank you to Duchess of Arthurshire, who says, Operation Send High Powered Stimulants did not go to plan, so bunged you some caffeine via PayPal instead.
Thank you, Arthur. Sure.
And as a reminder to other new listeners that they can also do the same.
Give us money, patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket. You can help us out. We need money to get us through the night, because basically we need to buy all sorts of sweet things, otherwise we will collapse.
Yeah. Or, as Arthurshire has done, you can do it via PayPal. The address for sending us money via PayPal is gorillacricket@gmail.com. And for the first time in this game, not bowling from the mount end, but from the city end, it is the small-mouthed one.
How does he speak, or play the horn, or clean his teeth, or even yawn? How does he shout? How does he call? Trent Bolt's mouth is really
And he'll be
small.
bowling to the orange-headed one.
I love this jingle. It's new and it's great.
We got a poke. We got a poke. Take a good hard look. It's Ollie Pope. It's Ollie Pope.
It's Ollie Pope. 2 slips in the gully for Bolt. Left arm over the wicket, and he turns this off his pads. I think he got bat on that. It may have just come off the thigh pad. It's run down to Wagner, who's coming in off the fence at long leg. And indeed, umpire Dharmasena turns to the scorers and balances on one leg and indicates a leg bye. 246 for 4. Now, I think this partnership is going to be a comfort to the hearts of an English cricket fans for several years to come. What I have seen of Pope, I think he's a burgeoning genius, and he's 18 off 24 balls. Yeah. And we talked, didn't we, when he came in last night? We thought, will England send in a night watchman? But no, he came out with great positivity and great footwork, I thought, as well, when he's defending.
Smashed his first ball for 4.
He did indeed.
Yes, positive in leaving, defending or attacking. Averages, I think, close to 70 in non-international first-class cricket.
Bolt then to Stokes, and it's wide, and it's going wider, swinging probably a little bit after it's gone past the batsman, and it forces Watling to dive across to his left to take.
Yes, I think he has that is a record, I think, for people who have played as many first-class games as he has. He's got the highest average at that point.
I think that might be a worldwide record at least, or certainly an English record.
Well, I suppose we shouldn't build him up too much, because people get built up and then knocked down.
Well,
again.
no, the point is he's been picked well and truly in form.
Yes, and he got 2 double centuries last year. In comes Bolt, bowls to Stokes, and that's good judgment. It started on the line of off, but it was always shaping away, and he allowed it to pass.
Yes, inevitably there was kind of bookended the season given his injury in the middle of it.
Absolutely. I mean,
there was one in the Champions match first up.
Yeah, in March in Dubai, wasn't it?
In Dubai, and then one very much towards the latter end of the season when he came back after having tried to fight with a boundary fence.
Yeah, well, that's the. I mean, I think we've had people like Jon Snow do that in the past, and you don't
Well,
normally.
you should have learned from Zafar Ansari to not do it.
Ah, right, okay. In comes Bolt to Stokes, and again Stokes leaves a ball that's just hinting at away movement.
It's all a bit gentle from the hand, isn't it? The swing.
I think it is, and I also that was a point I was going to make if we had time before we started. That people will say they were disciplined yesterday, New Zealand, but there was a lack of aggression in their bowling. I thought.
Well, I'm just going to point out I don't think he's running in that hard on this either.
Well, this, I mean,
I know it's a warm-up over effectively for him.
Well, it shouldn't be a warm-up over.
It shouldn't be.
I mean, you've been warmed up, and these days they do all sorts of exercises before the start, don't they? In he comes again, bowls, and that's a better ball, which means that Stokes has to drop onto the front foot and defend.
I do think there's an element of, because the pitch is not that quick, and it may quicken up through today, it certainly did seem a bit quicker in the evening session yesterday, and we do often see pitches quicken up on day 2 and 3. He's slightly trying to put the ball there to make sure that he pitches the ball up, to make sure he maximises movement, but it's not quite the fluent Trent Bolt that we're used to.
Now, when he runs in really quick when his gander is well and truly up. It's more of a stroll at the moment. Onto the back foot goes Stokes and plays forcefully up to wide mid-off. He'll take another single. He'll keep the strike. And at the end of the over, England are 247 for 4. More tweets.
Yep, and Forsyth has got the Colin de Gondam jingle stuck in her head.
It's a great one.
Neil Franklin has said, "Evening all," in the words of Dr. Dixon and Dr. Green. Professor Gibbs says, "Good evening, lads. I'll be with you for the beginning tonight as I'm on my way to teach an evening class, and I'll join you for the end. Hopefully England will still be batting." Tim Everingham has also joined us.
Hello.
He says, "No 9 a.m. lecture tomorrow, so I look forward to listening to you throughout the night."
Huzzah!
And also, Derek Willis has joined us from Maryland, and Steve Alders, he says, "Gotta love the Ollie Pope jingle. Thumbs up."
It's a good one.
It is a good one. De Grandon will continue 2 for 32 from 20 overs. Ben Stokes is standing at the other end with his bat hanging over his shoulder. He now settles down and gets ready for the bowler. Round the wicket, he's in, and he defends the ball coming into his middle and leg stumps and pushes as far as mid-on. There is no run.
Significant swing into the left-hander from Colin de Grandon.
Yeah, and he's using that angle, isn't he, as well, to sort of accentuate that.
Does make it quite a tricky task to get the line absolutely right, because if we start it off too close to the batsman, it'll go down the leg side, and he's got an easy shot basically to get some runs.
Yep. And here he is again, 2 slips, and he throws that one almost out there, and it's driven beautifully by Ben Stokes. Perhaps not with quite the timing you expect from a man of his ability, but he's still going to get a couple of runs as a Raval, who is obviously out there as a sweeper, comes round to do the fielding.
Jeet Rubble for almost the entire match so far has been at deep cover.
Yeah, he's
well. As soon
quite busy.
as he comes close, he makes a fielding fumble, and he's forced to do something quickly.
That may be it. Then he needs a good sighter of the ball to actually.
But he is, yes, a specialist long throw fielder from the boundary, a la Mitchell Satner.
Yes, here's de Grandon again. Oh, now that's a bit of a full shot from Stokes. He drove at that one. It probably swung a little bit more than he expected. He gets a thick inside edge, which sends the ball square, just behind square on the onside. They get through for 1. Who is that in the... it's Stuart Broad having a net. Wonderful.
He's just practiced a hook shot.
My word. Well, he plays that quite a lot, doesn't he? To be
well,
honest, he gets peppered,
one
basically.
would imagine Neil Wagner will be into the attack as soon as Stuart Broad comes on.
Well, Stuart Broad is down to come in at number 11, so that could be some time. 250 up for England, 250 for 4.
He's getting lessons in how to play the hook shot by Paul Collingwood, who I don't think I ever saw play a hook in his entire career.
What great forearms he has. I noticed yesterday. Wonderful forearms. In comes de Grandon. Now back over the wicket to Pope. Pope defends a ball that wobbles a little bit and holds its line in the end, and he defends it to mid-wicket, and there is no run.
Just observations on Ollie Pope, that almost nothing particularly stands out about his batting because it's also controlled. There's no sort of flourishes, there's no sort of no obvious idiosyncrasies. It's just everything seems very controlled and very calm.
Until the ball is very wide of off stump, and then he throws the kitchen sink at it.
Well, you will have seen a little bit more than we have at the Oval. He's waiting with bat aloft, and He comes across there. That was a little bit of a risky shot. He could be in trouble.
That's a
He's been
shout.
given out LBW. And I don't think that's a mistake from Bruce Oxenford. I think that is out. And that is a terrible shame for Ollie Pope. He's going to review it, but he went right across his stumps there.
Did he get outside the line?
I don't think so.
I think that's going to crash just into the outer edge of leg stump.
Yeah, well, that's
And he's been given out, so umpire's call will be enough.
Why was he doing that? I don't really understand that.
He was on the move for that one. He
Yeah.
wasn't really planted.
Well, he was trying to come down the track because de Grondom's quite slow and nudge a single through a vacant gap. Well, he's certainly not outside the line. That's hit him on middle and leg.
I mean, the only thing that can save him is if it's going down. But if I suspect it's clipping the outside, and as you say, he's been given out, so I think it's going to stay out. That's a poor wicket for England to concede there. And
Has he got slightly misaligned? His head slightly outside the line of the ball.
well, he's gone across, hasn't he? That's the point. I think he was looking to just tickle that away for a single. That's possibly the way he wants to play. He's a long way down the wicket, actually. I mean, he's a good foot and a half outside the crease.
For his back foot, let alone his front
Yeah,
foot.
and it's hit him. Well, I don't think it's going over the top. De Grondom's not quick enough for that, but it's hit him above the knee roll.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's going to save him. I think it's going to be clipping, and
I suspect you're right.
because he takes a step down the wicket, doesn't he, and then tries to work it.
Well,
Well, there we were. We gave him the big up, didn't we? But he may have thrown it away
He
here.
comes down the wicket, but then his first step when he comes down the wicket is slightly to the offside.
Is to retreat slightly with his front foot.
Well, a lot of players do that. Let's have a look. What's going to happen here? He's going to be
Oh.
missing. Oh my word! Oh my word! Well, that is rather fortuitous. It's going over, and it's well, it probably would have clipped on direction the leg stump, but in terms of height, he's got away with that, and that is extremely lucky, I would say. So good. Pope is still there, and de Grandon hasn't got a third wicket. Let that be a warning to the young man that you can't necessarily take such chances, even with a bowler of de Grondom's pace. In he comes again, bustling up to the wicket, bowls outside the stump. This time he leaves a ball. Just had a little bit more in it, that one from de Grandon. Probably a little bit angry that wasn't out. And that is the end of the over. It was a maiden England 250 for 4.
So much for papal infallibility.
Yep. Pirate Badger says, "Evening all. I don't have beer. I don't have olives, but most importantly, I do have Guerrilla Cricket."
Hey!
He's also watching a 7-day-old speed skating stream from Minsk. If anyone wants updates.
Speed skating's quite fun.
From
Yeah.
Minsk.
Not Fred has responded to Cricket Ultra and said that's a bit harsh
What's a bit harsh?
about being not waking up in a cold sweat at 3:30 a.m. to Fred's voice.
Oh, yes. Well, if I woke up...
And Mog is saying that stupid workers made him miss the start of play.
Oh, no.
And Arthurshire says that Pope dismissal was inevitable from the moment Hendo called him a burgeoning genius, to be honest.
Well, yeah, but he's not out, so he's still a burgeoning genius in my mind. Oh, good ball from Bolt that in the end has Stokes a little bit uncertain as to whether to go forward or back. He ends up going halfway back and just jabs the bat at it. I mean, I suppose the thing you can say about Pope is that he was so far down the wicket, he had a long way to travel, that ball. Anyway, I should say, of course, the GPL is open, the Guerrilla Prediction League. If you want to take part in that, please do. We went very close yesterday. I think it was Des got very close. You have until lunch to decide how many runs you think will be scored in the day. Here comes Bolt again into Stokes. Stokes comes right across his stumps and then flicks this away. Lovely shot that was. There is a man running round. It's Mitchell Santner, and they get back for 2. Yes, you go to the Guerrilla Prediction League on our website, guerrillacricket.com. Go to competitions. If you haven't already registered, please do. And for every guess you have, you pay us £1. It goes into the pot. I think what is in the pot there?
£82.
£82? £82. It was £74 yesterday. We had quite a few entries. It's gone up to £82. And the more you put in there today, the more it'll be worth at the end of the day. And if you get it on the nose, you get the prize pot. How wonderful that would be. Bolt in short, pulled by Stokes, pulled powerfully, but Santner is there again, patrolling in the outfield, and they take just the single. 253 for 4.
That shot that Stokes clipped off his toes is exactly what Pope was trying to do, but maybe with a little bit of swing, or maybe because Pope got himself slightly closed off as he came down the wicket, his first step with his front foot was slightly to the offside, so we got a bit closed off. His head was out of alignment. Stokes' head was perfectly in line with the ball.
But I also think there was a slightly
fuller
ball as
as
well.
well.
Yeah, absolutely. Which enabled him to clip it quite so nicely. Bolt then to Pope. Pope plays this into the onside. There's a dummy run from the man at mid-wicket, which I think will have prevented them from getting the single. Indeed, it does. It's fielded at mid-on. 253 for 4.
I should get some shout-outs to YouTube followers.
Hello, people.
Paul Talkington says hello.
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 Jack Measley says, what do you think about Chris Gale?
What's he done now?
I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. Has he done something in the T10?
Eco Stevens says in the white line somewhere in deepest Norfolk, drinking Norfolk's Revenge.
Oh, Norfolk's Revenge. That sounds very worrying. This is given a lot of width outside the off-stump, and Pope thinks about throwing the kitchen sink, as Jason suggested he might do, but thinks better of it in the end and lets it pass through.
And Paul Talkington says, boy, that pitch looks flat and slow.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to see if Joffa just comes on nicely or causes discomfort.
Well, I think he'll cause a bit of discomfort early on, certainly. And it remains to be seen if he can get some early inroads. That will help England's cause. Anyway, we're a long way from that, from an England perspective, we hope. Pope comes forward, defends a fuller ball to extra cover. He's covered, isn't he, actually, Ollie Pope? He's absolutely covered.
I was going to say that. He's taking no chances. If he's taking chances with the batting, he's taking no chances with the sun protection.
Yeah, that is extraordinary. He's almost
when you've got
completely
absolutely
white.
whited out inside his helmet.
It's a whiteout. It's a whiteout for Pope. That's the end of the over. Bolt has figures of none for 65 from 24 overs. And England remain on 253 for 4.
We have seen Neil Wagner hit Rory Burns on the top of the helmet with a skiddy bouncer. Archer's a little bit, quite a bit taller than Wagner, but Wagner showed that you can. He spoke last night, as well as calling Ben Stokes a freak, said it is the sort of pitch where you do have to bend your back a little bit, but Archer's not averse to doing that.
De Grandon round the wicket and out to the crease comes Stokes and clips this beautifully. Good piece of fielding by the man at mid-wicket, who I think maybe Santner again. It's Henry Nicholls. And he sort of parries this to mid-on, but not before they've come through for the one. Stokes moves to 79.
Henry Nicholls also with sun cream smeared across his cheeks.
Yeah, I saw George de Bell going on about the wind burn as well that you can get in Mount Maunganui. And so that's something you ought to look out for.
Also in New Zealand, because the sun is very, very low angle on the horizon.
Pope facing up to de Grandon, who offers him one foot outside the off-stump, fairly full, but he leaves it alone.
And there's basically no ozone layer over New Zealand, so
my God.
Even if it's not that sunny, wear sun cream, kids.
So hang on, we've destroyed the ozone layer over New Zealand, have we, already?
Yes, be thankful for the Northern Hemisphere and the industrialised nations.
Yes, indeed. We've buggered up the Southern Hemisphere. Okay, good. In comes de Grandon. Slips go down. He's bowls to Pope. Pope defends on the front foot to a good length delivery. Ball dribbles, trickles up to mid-on, and there is no run.
There's no extravagant trigger movements, particularly with Ollie Pope. A little bit back and across, and then a forward press, but nothing in the Steve Smith variety.
He does seem like a man who wants a bit more pace on the ball, I have to say. It'll be interesting to see what he's like against the spinner. We haven't seen much of Mitchell Santner, probably won't see much of him. He's driven this one, he's driven it nicely into the ground, but then helpfully up into the hands at waist height of Henry Nicholls at extra cover.
Some shout-outs from Crick Tracker followers. Ankit Sharma has joined us. Gulam Alams says hi. Jati Atif and Dilan Falik Orgay.
Welcome, everybody.
That's Pope on 18. He hasn't scored a run today, has he, so far? De Grandon is in, and that's down the leg side. He tries to help it on his way, but makes no contact. Crabby, Space Invader-like BJ Watling goes to his left to take, and there is no run.
Nice tribute to the other Space Invader wicketkeeper, Sarfraz Ahmed, who has found himself unceremoniously ditched from all forms of international cricket.
Yes, he has. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing a bit of Nazim. Was it Nazim Shah?
Yeah.
Naseem Shah.
I saw him last night coming into bat against Mitchell Stark with a new ball. It was fun. That's worked through square leg by Pope. It'll be his first run in the morning, but it'll also be just a single to deep backward square. Another beautiful day. Certainly a lot of sun, clear skies in Mount Maunganui. I keep having to say Mount Maunganui. Maunganui. Any more tweets?
Mog says he only turns in at the start to hear jingles, specifically his jingles probably.
Yeah, we love your jingles.
And Turbanoki, Warwick Pump says, isn't DRS a wonderful thing?
It is a wonderful thing, sometimes. And then other times you think, oh, bugger. It depends on your viewpoint, doesn't it, at the time?
DRS, I think, has made a significant improvement
It's
to international
certainly
cricket.
a lot better than VAR, if you're talking acronyms. As VAR is an
It's a
absolute...
three-letter swear word for
It
you,
is.
isn't it?
Yeah, it doesn't make...
Dreadful.
Tennis has managed to make it work.
Cricket's made it work.
Rugby's made it work. I don't understand how football has buggered it up quite so badly.
Oh,
I
don't
think
know.
they're 20 years behind the curve of most of the other people who have adopted it. That's the problem.
Yeah, I think...
And they haven't... They've tried to... They haven't really made it... They
They haven't
optimised it
Yeah.
for their playing formats yet.
Bolt then starting a new over into Pope. Pope forward defending to extra cover.
Interesting leg side field. There's a short mid-wicket, a regular mid-wicket, and a mid-on.
Let's have a look at that then. If the camera will pull back and give us a bit more information.
We did see Bolt operating with a short extra cover and short mid-wicket for parts of yesterday because the pitch is a little bit slow and driving on the up isn't particularly easy. You might just get one that spoons to the short fielders.
And when clipping, you might get a slight leading edge as well. Here is Bolt again to Pope, who gets around onto the back foot, defends to mid-wicket, the orthodox one, presumably. And there is no run, 255 for 4.
No, that was the catching mid-wicket. The
was
regular
that one?
mid-wicket's back a little bit and a little bit squarer.
Okay.
But they've left square leg open for Pope.
Yeah, well, I suppose that's the thing. They're hoping that perhaps he will try and turn it square where there's a gap and he will get that leading edge. What's this say? Go lovely Trenty. Oh, right, okay.
Steady ship. Get Kane in.
Homemade banners. Well, not banners, but bits of
Sorry, it's
cardboard,
Kane
really.
W, not Kane in.
Yes, Kane W. I see what you mean. Yes, short mid-wicket and a wider or more orthodox one. That's a good ball from Bolt. That swings back in towards Pope's middle stump and he defends into the onside. No run.
Bolter dismissively backhands the ball towards BJ Watling.
We're looking at Ollie Pope's first-class career. He's averaging near enough 60, 800s and 750s in 47 innings, a highest of 251.
3 double tons, I think.
Three double tons.
Dragged down by his test average of 24.
Yeah, he's only played 2 tests before this one, and he waits for Bolt, and he's short, and he pulls that really well. That went like the proverbial tracer bullet, and it's he wasn't that far away from it, long leg, but he couldn't get around to it. Neil Wagner, 4 runs.
That went like a tracer bullet.
Leaving square leg open is all very well, but not if you drop short.
No, not if you bowl there, and he seems to quite like the pull shot. But, there's nothing in the pitch for that, is there?
That was a Ponting-esque front foot pull.
Yeah, that shows the lack of pace, doesn't it, really?
There was one yesterday where I think it was Rory Burns slapped Neil Wagner through mid-on with a pull shot.
Yes, they will go more in
Stokes,
front.
I think it was, wasn't it?
Now this is pushed across Pope, very wide indeed. He doesn't go after it, leaves it alone quite sensibly.
Sorry, yeah, you're right, Jason. It was Ben Stokes, yeah.
Sharp, though, that was 141k, so that's 88 miles an hour.
Well, that's a bit quicker than he was bowling yesterday, I have to say. He was up around about 138 on occasion, but not regularly. And as I say, I said it yesterday at the time, I thought that the New Zealand bowlers were bowling within themselves, but that may have been because they felt there wasn't enough in this pitch and they needed to be disciplined. But shorn of their aggression slightly. Here he comes again, bowls to Pope. Pope edged that
beauty.
one! Well, he has a little poke at it. Pope has a poke, but fortunately for him, he misses it completely through to Watling. End of the over, 259 for 4.
Bolt was definitely running in harder for those last 2 deliveries after being slapped for 4.
Yes. Comrade Burnsey says, about to hit the gym in Cranberry, Pennsylvania. Gorillas are not my normal motivational soundtrack, but what the hell? If you wouldn't mind asking Ollie Pope to continue playing stupid shots, that'd be great. At least he gets heart rate up.
Right, well, yeah, that's a good point, isn't it? Yes.
Neil Franklin says, well, he is infallible, if only ex cathedra. Talking about Ollie Pope.
Oh, Ollie Pope, he is infallible, but, well, he's an infallible genius as far as I'm concerned.
Peter Ward says, good evening, Gorillas from wet Dundee. No sun scene requires... because it's night and wet.
A wet night in Dundee, that's almost as bad as a Tuesday night in Stoke.
And
Anyway,
PJ...
we're going to have we'll just go, we'll come back to those tweets in a minute, but we've got a change of bowling. Colin de Grandhomme comes out of the attack, and this man comes into it.
He's so pretty, that's Tim Southey. He's so pretty and witty and bright, but
He's very bright, and he's coming in to bowl to Ben Stokes, and he fires this across the left-hander, who leaves it alone. Ah, what a beautiful tune that is. What's that from?
I Feel Pretty is from West Side Story.
Oh, it's West
Yes.
Side Story, is it? Okay.
It's Maria singing that, I think, isn't it?
I'm so pretty.
I feel
That's
pretty.
a bit. Not very. Oh, she's not very modest, is she?
I Feel Pretty. She's just got a new dress, you see.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, I think a bit of modesty goes a long way with me. Anyway, here comes Southey into Stokes. Goes miles across his crease and then drives sumptuously, but not in defeating the field.
Stokes' entire body was outside off stump when he played that drive.
I get the feeling that Stokes is in such good form that he's getting a little bit bored and he's trying to find new ways of scoring. He's sort of testing himself. If I go a yard outside off stump, let's see what
Smash
happens.
it through the leg side.
He's moved on to 79 this morning.
Bolton Southey are now operating from opposite ends to what they were yesterday.
All right, well, that might make a difference. Southey into Stokes. Stokes defends this square. Gully is de Grandhomme, and he's just moving around to his left of field.
Yes, I think the de Grandhomme experiment of opening the bowling today was quickly curtailed.
Well, I mean, had he got that wicket, had that LBW stood, then obviously people would be saying, well, it was a great decision. But
I mean, possibly then, if they'd taken the wicket, they would have brought Southey on anyway, because de Grandhomme would have done his job.
possibly. Yeah, but it gives options to a captain, doesn't it? Southey is into his 22nd over. 1 for 46. He bowls to Stokes. He goes back and then plays this really well, subtly backward of square. There's nobody down there. That is a wonderful shot. Now that was, I suppose, shows the ability of Ben Stokes, as it was just a gentle caress backward of square on the offside when we've seen him getting ready to smash them. But that was just subtlety personified. 4 runs.
The last minute adjustment with the bottom hand there was beautiful, just to open
Glorious.
the face.
It's the one-day fiddle that's coming into Test cricket.
Well, no, he does play quite a lot backward of square, off the front foot and the back.
But he doesn't. But that was so well controlled. It wasn't like, say, Joe Root yesterday.
No, not at all. Southey, and he's down the wicket this time, and he drives straighter, but up to Kane Williamson at mid-off, and there is no run. 263 for 4 is the score.
So Root sometimes plays that shot. His arms are sort of ramrod straight. There's no give at all, and he's just poking at it. Stokes let the ball do all of its moving, shaped to play the ball straight, and then just at the last minute opened the face. So he's the percentages are much more on his side than they were for Root yesterday.
And clever, because of course there is a man out there, but he's much squarer than that. And he knew exactly what he was doing, where he was going to place the ball. This one he thrashes off the back foot to the man who's in front of square on the cover boundary, and takes the single. That is the end of the over. He keeps the strike. 264 for 4.
Not really sure what Southey's plan in that over was.
No, he's no great pace, was he? 124, 127, I think, was the highest he got up to.
PJ Media joined us, says, Eden Gooders, I'm a bit late joining you this evening. The wife and daughter wanted to watch I'm a Celeb, so he's not the master of his own media.
One does what one must.
And our own Julia Farman has joined us.
Hello.
And says, I was on one of the first England tours where DRS was used, and it was hard work. Takes time to adjust, but football will get there.
I wonder whether it will. I mean, it's just made such a mess of it so far. I'd be in favour of just getting rid of it. These marginal decisions as to whether someone's actually been tripped in the penalty area, you can't always tell whether there's contact or not.
Well, they seemed to work quite well during the World Cup because they only used it in certain circumstances, and they were very clear about what they were doing with it. But just in the Premier League at the moment, they seem to have absolutely no clue what they want to do with it or what it's meant to be for.
I'd be happy to go back. I agree with the goal line technology. That's essential, but I don't know about the rest of it. In comes Bolt. Bowls a short one to Stokes, who pulls that out to Santner at deep backward square. There are 2 men out. There's a man at long leg and there's a man at deep backward square. He takes another single, moves on to 85.
Santner's actually further in front of score, almost at deep mid-wicket.
He's very mobile, Santner, as we found out from the World Cup. He covers a lot of ground.
Yeah,
He's got
he is a good
bullet
outfielder.
arm.
Yeah.
So I feel like we've been on for quite a while. Is it not time for a change?
Almost 1 minute away.
All right, okay, so we'll go to the end of this over. We've got 5 balls to go, and we will be replaced. We have people out there. We have Tony Bishop. We have John out there making his Test debut for Guerrilla Cricket. We have the Bear, of course. Don't forget the Bear.
Maybe we'll have Al Hodge at some point.
And we're wondering whether we're going to have Al Hodge, because he did inquire about whether we needed him, and we kind of said yes, but we have seen no sign of him so far. Bolt then to Pope, and Pope pulls, and he pulls well in front of square. Wonderful shot again, and he picks up 4 runs.
Now my innings going, great guns, I hit the ball, 4 runs,
length so early.
Yeah, I mean, when he's bowling short, it's just not bouncing for Trent Boult. It's a very comfortable shot from sort of waist height, really, for Pope. And there's no one back at deep square leg, and it's a free 4 runs almost. Boult into Pope. He goes in behind this one, and Boult runs across, stops it with his foot.
That is the advantage of being one of the people of lesser stature, is it's very easy to rock back if you need to. Not that you needed to on this slow wicket.
No, indeed not.
We've had our first GPL entry. Oscar Mack has come in at 264.
Ooh, 264. How many runs have we had so far today? We've had 28 in the first half an hour, so that's quite a good start this morning by England. Almost a run a ball, run a minute.
If these players stay out there for any length of time, the score will rattle along.
It should do, shouldn't it? Boult again into Pope, and Pope forward, defending. Again, a dummy run from extra cover prevents them going for the single. It ends up in the hands of mid-off. And he's got the habit that Joe Root's got of holding his bat up to say no to his partner when he turns down a run. Tony Bishop's leg appears around the door. It's a wonderful bejeaned leg, and he's joined by the beard-up bear.
It is an excellent leg.
It is an excellent leg. I enjoy seeing that leg when it goes up from one step to the other on the stairs in the morning as his exercise regime. This is played square on the offside by Pope. Not every morning, apparently. Oh dear. One ball to go, and then there will be a 3-man change, and I can go and have some food. Sorry? No, I haven't. I didn't eat. I had some cereal when I got in, and then I've had nothing since. So I'm going to indulge in some chicken pasta. Anyway, here we go. You don't want to know that, do you? Here comes Boult. He bowls to Pope, and Pope goes back, then leaves it outside the off stump. That is the end of the over. It's 269 for 4. Pope has 27. Stokes has 85.
Yeah, you'll soon hear from John, from Tony, and from Bear. But first, Rihanna.
Alternative cricket commentary, bringing you laughs, bringing you jingles, bringing you joy. We are gorillas. We need your patreon.com/gorilla cricket.
Oh, hello. That took a while. England 269 for 4. Stokes 85, 139. Pope 27 of 46. I've had some IPA. Oh, a bit gassy again. Oh yeah. And yeah, England doing all right. I think there was pessimism about that LBW earlier on, wasn't there? You guys thought it was dead bang to rights.
I did.
I was a bit more.
I'm afraid I did.
Yeah, guilty as charged.
I mean, it did look kind of out. Driven nicely by Stokes, but can't beat mid on. Who comes around. But then when you saw side on, he was so far down the track. You got to think that's a long way to go. He's got good, it was worth a review just because the ball had so far to travel. And as it turns out, it was missing. Southey is bowling. He's a 1 for 51 in his 23rd over. And new ball is now coming up to 20 overs old. It's 18 overs old. Stokes is facing up. And he's coming around the wicket to him. Southey guides it down beautifully. Inside gully, outside the second slip. Races away, no third man. 4 runs. Stokes moves on at 89. Your thoughts on this morning so far, boys?
I think it was important that these two stay here and build on the platform from yesterday. You're right. I'm a very cautious giver of LBWs, as you know, but I must admit I had my finger up for Pope. But since then, he looked to have gone on. They played good, aggressive cricket, and I think England, if England can keep this going, then they're manoeuvring themselves into a good position.
And you, John?
Yeah, I think it's really important that they didn't waste all the good work from yesterday and
lose an early wicket
in a dodgy first hour.
Yeah,
and they've seemed to have avoided that. So
well, we've seen that a lot of times before with England, let's be honest. Southey continues around the wicket to Stokes, hits that into the ground, follow through. Southey picks it up. Yeah, I mean, I have looked a bit skittish though. I mean, they clearly is intent to push on, which could have led to an early wicket. But they've been out there for half an hour now. You kind of think the longer they're out there, the easier it becomes and the more pressure they're putting on them.
they've scored, 30 odd runs in the first half hour, so that's pretty good going. 32, isn't it? They came out 2 for 1. Is that right? 2 for 1? Driven by Stokes, gets inside half of the bat. He's trying to drive out through covers, but it's ended up put it wide mid on.
I think that was another illustration of how slow the wicket
Yeah,
is, wasn't
well,
it? He was threw the shot before the ball game, really.
I mean, that was the frustration yesterday, wasn't it? You could see that it just wasn't coming anywhere near the bat. I mean, it was so slow onto the bat. I mean, their bowlers aren't the quickest. And it just looked quite difficult to score. The timing was out the window. But this morning, I think, I guess if you go at the ball and you take a stride down a wicket towards it and meet it more on the half volley or get close to the ball, you should be able to get more of it. Nicely.
Nice.
That's a beautiful shot. Clipped off his pads. Pope off his front pad. They're coming back for 2. Yep. It's like the foot is down. They want to get the runs on the board, put some pressure on the Kiwis. And of course, if they can get scoreboard pressure, this Kiwi side has scored a lot of runs at home recently. Not surprising to have decks like this, to be honest, and they play on all the time. It's quite difficult to get teams out, but 400 is it's never going to be an easy score to chase down in the first innings. Get a bit of pressure with a couple of early wickets. All sorts can happen. Get revenge for last year. Southey over the wicket to Pope, who he's that outsider's off stump through the keeper and there's no run. 29. Is this his highest test score? I believe it is. 28 was his previous highest test score, wasn't it? Or maybe it's 18. Don't know.
We're being joined from all places on the globe. All places on the globe.
Hello, people around the globe.
Dylan Farik Koreik is saying hi from Pakistan.
Hello, Pakistan.
Akib, I beg your pardon, from Kurdistan. What am I saying?
Oh.
Akib Jabid is saying hi from India.
Hello.
Sohail Rana from Bangladesh.
Hello, Bangladesh.
And Delawar Hussain from Jeddah. Subhan Vahid says, very nice commentary.
Why, thank you very much.
And Sahim Wahid is watching from Saudi Arabia.
Ah, nice. Jeddah. Where's Jeddah?
Saudi Arabia, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a city in Jeddah, isn't it? Jeddah's the city in Saudi Arabia.
Needless to say, Twitter is jumping, which is great. Pirate Badshara Dublin. Docked in Dublin. I've abandoned the speed skating for the live Super 50 cricket in the West Indies. Canada are playing the Leewards and chasing 233 to win 11 for 1 after 2 overs. James Humberson says, morning Gorilla Cricket. Thank you in advance for keeping me company
James.
Between meetings and, I think that says theses. Is that theses today, James? Would that be right?
He's our man at Sydney Conservatoire. Driven, block driven by a defender into the ground, even maybe by Stokes, and Trentwell gets it on his follow through.
Chris the Choir, 450 partnership of the innings. Will this be the big one to propel England to 400 plus?
Well,
that's the question.
Well, it would be nice. I mean, this is it. Everyone's kind of got to start. And, well, I suppose Denley got into the 70s, but you'd love to see Stokes here get a ton and get a big one. To be honest, nicely driven square. Someone square. It's Henry Nichols out there, and he came through for 1 in the end. Henry Nichols isn't in the team, is he? So he's on for somebody.
No, I think you got me wondering now. I rather thought he was.
Was it? I didn't
Yes,
see
he
him.
is. He's batting at 5.
Yeah.
Christ, I didn't see him at all yesterday.
So he's out there. Well, yeah, maybe he was more prominent later on in the innings.
the elusive Henry Nichols.
Yeah, elusive Henry Nichols. I didn't see him.
He's most definitely out there. Is Henry. James Humberson sent us a picture of his local cricket strip. He's saying, check out the beautiful track the council has laid for my under-11s this year, which does look good. Pope having a poke, that would be an ecumenical matter, says Peter Ward.
Of course it would.
Very good.
Although,
Moggs, I'll tell you about
Bolt around the wickets, trying to cramp Pope. It does come into him, and he takes a stride out towards the ball, and it follows him back in. He gets on the back foot and just drops it down back to the bowler. No run.
Mogg seems excited about a new Saudi jingle. Durban Oak says Hendo has a lot to be modest about. That's harsh. Elixir of
Go off, people, you know.
Yeah.
Azazel says it's 4 a.m. and I'm in a hospital with just you guys for company.
Oh, man.
Well, we're very sorry about that. Are you working there, or are you there out of other necessity?
4 a.m, so they're ahead of us by, 5 hours? So you're around about India. That's defended out to cover and there's no run.
Wishing you well either way, of course.
Indeed.
Soph says, lol, thinking that's possible. That's a conversation, I think. No TV showing cricket here, and the Wi-Fi is so poor I can't even get good at cricket. Oh no, Soph, that's really bad.
Oh dear.
Keep trying is all I can say.
Yeah,
Keep trying.
It'll get better at some point. There's Kane. With his very coiffured beard. Always looks so neat. Around the wicket still Bolt to Pope. He's angling in from quite wide of the crease into him, obviously left arm round. And he's getting away square. There's no run.
Mog wants to know, did Tony just say that he had his finger up the Pope?
No.
No, that's not...
If the Pope had
I had my finger up for the Pope.
If the Pope had a poke, it would be an ecumenical thing.
It
I think
would.
Was the,
No, I was talking about the LBW decision, where I did say I had my finger up. So I sort of, but it wasn't up the Pope. It was up for the Pope, probably.
Bolt back over the wicket to Ollie Pope, who just guides that square. That's Santner, who's at point, and there's no run. And that's the end of the over.
It would certainly be a matter of papal concern were that the case. If he fields on the boundary, would it be Pope on a rope?
Ooh. Well, if it was a rope.
Well, that's true. Pope on a sponge.
Pope on a sponge.
Doesn't sound quite the same, does it? But there we go. Anna Forsyth. Hello, Anna.
Oh, we've got
New Zealand.
more hang gliding people. Or, paragliders.
They're there all the time. New Zealand better pray Pope doesn't make them pay for that missed LBW chance. You have a feeling they've rather stoked the fire beneath England.
Well, I'd like to see him get a score. He's got first half, I believe, first class average of 58. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is pretty good going.
Soph's at LAX, Los Angeles Airport.
Wait, no fucking Wi-Fi at LAX.
I find that hard to believe.
That's terrible. That's because you've got Trump in the White House. Although, yeah.
I met Kofi Annan at Los Angeles Airport.
Oh, cool.
Charming man.
Was he a nice man? Yeah.
He was very, very nice. He recognised my accent as being an English accent.
And so thank God you're not an American. Down the track! Oh, that's a great catch! Oh, Stokesy. He's come down the track trying to drive at Sonny. Maybe he saw him coming, but it was a little bit wide and he didn't really get across to the ball. Drove at it hard. Thinnish outside edge. And it went quickly. Taylor making up for what was a terrible drop yesterday. Leaping one hand to his right and snatching it out of the air. And Stokesy is gone. Give him a jingle.
All of the dreams that I dreamed were mine are going, gone.
Again, not able to quite go on. Frustrating.
You've got to say, it is only the second morning. You know, we're not even an hour in. I mean, was it really necessary to be? I mean, they have been kind of going at the ball and coming down the track. I mean, obviously the pitch is slow, but they've been a bit ultra aggressive.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean,
no need to play at that shot to that, I suppose. I don't blame him too bad. He's got 91 runs. He's had a good innings and he looked great, but you kind of feel a bit pissed off that he didn't go on.
Just in the meantime, Sonny King Khan is with us from the US. Who says, say hello to me. Hello, Sonny King Khan.
Hello, you.
And then followed up by going waiting. Well, you know, cricket gets in the way sometimes, but nonetheless, Sonny King Khan, well, hello and welcome.
Whereabouts in the States are you, Sonny?
Yes, let us know where you are.
Oh, but we've got another exciting batsman's coming. It's a man with beautiful blue eyes. You going to play him a jingle?
Mr. Butler.
Mr. Butler, yep.
Mr. Butler.
He has a lovely jingle.
Where are we?
It should be in batting order. It'll be England Test team.
Where are you, England Test team?
England Tests. There you go.
Here we go.
I've been trying to train him on the jingle machine.
Okay.
You can see it.
Prior
He's a newbie.
loss, 'cause we found someone subtler. Okay, he can't spell Joss, but he also can't spell Butler. Joss Butler. Just because he is Joss Butler. One S and two T's. Joss Butler.
He scored a ton, didn't he, in the warm-up game? Southey in, first ball outside the off stump. Butler just lets it through the keeper and there's no run.
Elixir of Azazel says the Pope puns are on a slippery slope.
Well, yeah. Wasn't there some more people in the Popery? Not the Popery exactly.
The Potpourri.
The Vatican. Some more dodgy priests got uncovered this week, if I remember rightly, seeing in the paper.
Ooh, probably best to avoid that subject then.
Well, you know.
MJ Knuster.
Ah, hello. Subtle knife.
Yeah, says Jeddah, also known as a pilgrim moon, or as the cold moon, was a small desert moon which orbited the planet Najeda. Located in the Jeddah system of the galaxy's mid-rim, the moon had a cold climate due to its lasting winter.
I think that's from Star Wars.
Is it?
I
I
seem
think
to
is
remember.
that Jeddah as in Jedi or?
No,
I'm really
Jedi.
confused.
But, yeah.
Star Wars just eludes me, I'm afraid.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Sorry.
I'm looking forward to the last one in the series. It's coming out this winter. Butler is facing up to Suddy. He's in now to the crease. Defends stoutly under his eyes. Out to the covers, and there's no run. Yeah, we kind of have a little tradition. We go on Christmas Eve, do all the prep for the food, you know, sauces and bloody stuffing and all that crap that I have to cook. That goes on for about 2 days before Christmas Eve, and I get it all done. And on Christmas Eve, there's sod all to do, and you know everything's done. And I take the kids and we go and see the latest Star Wars movie in the afternoon on Christmas Eve. It's quite nice.
Good plan.
Yeah, it's good.
Good plan.
Interesting thing there, that catch off Stokes was not at all dissimilar to the one he dropped.
Well, I was just thinking.
Dropped yesterday, is it?
Well, no, Danny, clearly he didn't see that one yesterday.
No.
I mean, if you look at it from behind.
So I'm just wondering,
goes
was
in
it a different end? And therefore, did he have a slightly clearer backdrop?
He was slightly
to
wider,
see it
wasn't he?
coming?
I mean, he was actually stationed at a second slip there. Sort of left alone through the keeper and there's no run. Whereas yesterday, I think he was at a genuine first slip, so maybe the angle was slightly different. Maybe it is a different end. Maybe his light's different at this time of the day. You know, it's bright morning sunshine. You know.
He would have had a reasonable amount of time to see that because Stokes was quite a long way down the pitch.
Yeah,
wasn't
true. That's another thing as well. Butler gets himself the mark, nicely tucked into the leg side, easily eased there. So vacant mid wicket. Wiping on goes across the field and they get a single.
Knowledge Kumar says Dhoni. Saban Wahid says, oh no, Stokesy deserved the 100, but I support New Zealand. Knowledge Kumar says, hello everyone, hello to you. We
Hello.
are unable to watch cricket, he says.
Well, you can listen to us.
Listen to us instead. Show us match, we can't. But you can just watch us instead and we'll let you know everything that's happening. Every ball.
I was going to make some hand signals, but you know. Big lock, little box, big box, little box.
Sabine Wahid wants to know, guess what will be England's score in the first innings?
402.
Sabine Wahid, you can go and enter the GPL if you wish.
You can do that indeed. And the GPL started off at £82 today. You have until lunchtime, which is another hour or so, to go there. You decide, guess the amount of runs that are scored in the entirety of today's play. And if you're on the nose, you win whatever's in the pot. The pot started at £82 this morning. The more of you enter, the bigger the pot gets. The pot was one in the Ashes, actually, wasn't it? We had a pot of about 150 quid was one, I think. Bolt comes into Butler, bowling across him. Left arm over. He just shoulders arms, lets it through to PJ Watling, and there's no run.
Pirate Badshah, what are we doing for time? I'll wait between balls, actually, because I've worked out if a tweet's more than two lines long, it's worth giving it maximum time.
You could have done it by now.
Well, I was reading other things.
Oh, okay.
We're multi-platform now, Bear. You can't do them literally simultaneously.
You need a big screen in front of you.
That would be helpful. Pirate Dacho anyway says, docked in Dublin. I believe such, we're talking about the Pope puns, I think. Putting the finger up the Pope. I believe such might well be the result in Bishop being defrocked.
Ooh.
Though the other way round, it might well be the Pope being dethroned, defrocked and defenestrated.
Well...
Delight was out, Depot was full, so I did it in Defender.
Huh?
That was a very old joke my dad used to tell, don't ask me why.
Okay.
But it just made me think of it. It was the alliteration of the 3 Ds, dethroned, defrocked and defenestrated.
That was a nice ball by Bolt. It was came in, but it was a bit too full. Beautifully played by Butler, just clipped it off his toes. Sweetly out through mid-wicket. No fielder out on the boundary, and it's 4 runs.
I think I'm just going to admit that I've got no idea what defenestrated means.
Defenestrated?
Defenestrated.
It's when they used to chuck them out of windows,
Yeah.
as in fenêtre
Ah,
for a window.
right, okay.
Yeah, defenestration was a way of executing people. Presumably the window had to be high enough up to make it worthwhile. It was hardly worth chucking them out a first floor window and
I
just
don't know, you could paralyse.
having them pop up and going, hello!
If you wanted to be particularly cruel, I suppose you could sort of cripple people, break their backs.
right. Ooh,
You know, and they died slowly probably in those days. No, no wheelchairs. Left alone through the keeper and there's no run.
presumably you just glaze over when you hit the ground. Durban Oak says, we'll all be out by lunchtime. Adrian Lowe says, doomed. Well, actually he says do, comma, ED, but I think it's doomed. Just joking, guys. Adrian Lowe says, good jingle work, chimps. Yes, it's we have a trainee.
Yeah.
Give him time.
It's okay.
And I know I sound like a trainee every time I do it. I've been doing it a while, so there you go.
Throwing it wide across Butler. Leaves that one alone through to Watling and there's no run. Last ball of Bolt over. Just the 4 off it. And England 282 for 5. But keep them out in the field for a good while longer. They'll be tired as well when they go out to bat. That one goes straight on rather than coming in this time. Butler goes deep in his crease in defence, gets a thick outside edge, soft hands through the slip cord and down to the third man boundary, and it's 4 runs.
Ewan Cowley says Calypso, question mark, and I don't quite know why. And I tried to see if it was part of a discussion, and it wasn't. So
Calypso
Ewan,
Collapso?
Calypso, of course, brilliant. Let's hope not. Although, as I said, Durban Oak did say we'll all be out by lunchtime. Neil Franklin says time to go back to Plan A, 2 and over until tea. Anna Forsyth says Butler jingle would just put a massive smile on my face in spite of the Stokes wicket. I'm only on 5% battery, so I'll have to leave tweeting until I get home.
Oh.
Go well. We'll
Get
do
one
our
of those
best.
portable batteries you can plug your phone into. Pope is going to continue. He's 29 off 52. Southey 2 for 59. He's going to come in presumably over the wicket indeed. And Pope, who looks busy at the crease, just gets in line and defends it out to the covers, and there's no run.
Nilesh Kumar wants to know who do we think is going to win the World Test Championship? India. Move. Next question.
Yeah, well, it depends. Where's the final being played though?
I can't remember.
Is that been decided yet?
300 points, aren't they? At the moment, with Pakistan
Yeah,
on 0.
but the final could well be at Lord's, say, for example.
That's true. That would make a big
You
difference.
know,
wouldn't
a massive difference. You know, Australia versus India at Lord's, I'd give it Australia every fucking time, you know. It really does depend where it's played. It's not particularly reasonably well defended, but quite ugly from Pope this time. Got back down a bit late, inside half of the bat, goes out to mid-wicket and there's no run.
it? PJ Mead says, shame to see Stokes go. I had a drink in a restaurant and a couple of bottles of Leffe since getting back. I may be asleep soon. Okay, well, hopefully you heard that.
I do like a bit of Leffe, but it's quite strong.
Yeah, I
It's
quite like Leffe.
strong.
Belgian, isn't it?
Yeah, Belgian white beer.
Very drinkable.
It's quite sweet. Pope faces up, leaves that one alone through the Watling, swings after it's gone past the bat. That swings very wide, starts off wide, goes wide and no run. Yeah, I mean, the thing about the Test Championship, you know, my idea for the Test Champion is that they should do it, top 4 sides or top 8 sides should meet over a whole summer in wherever it would be, and then you have one, you know, best of 3 in, say, July or June, best of 3 semi-finals in August. July, say, and then the final, best of 3 in August, say. And if it was in England, that's thrashed, that's out. Pope has gone. That's a terrible shot. No need to play it. Foot didn't go towards the ball. He flapped at it outside his off stump. And the 2 batsmen overnight have gone out in quite poor ways, you have to say, really. Pope goes for 29. There's no need to play that shot. Was that a knuckleball?
Yeah, it's reaching for it, wasn't he?
No need to be playing that whatsoever. I mean, that was wide, going wider. And he was reaching for it when he played the shot.
Well, we were saying, weren't we, at the start of play, a lot rests on can the two that are in bed in
Yeah.
and turn the platform into something big. And the worst thing that could happen for England is they went fairly early, and they've both gone fairly early.
Well, it's nearly an hour. I suppose we're off in an over or so. They've been out there for an hour, but it's just it's a poor way to go. It's a poor choice of shot.
Well, I think that's the frustrating thing, isn't it? That if both of them had got out to cracking deliveries and whatever, and you would have said, well, all right, they couldn't do much about that. But both of them have got out playing a shot that they didn't need to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that has undermined a lot of the hard work from yesterday.
Absolutely. It can be made up again. You've got the runs in the bank, I suppose, and you can't complain if Stokes gets 91, or you can do because you think he should go on. But he could have been caught yesterday afternoon. He got away with that, scored another 30, 40 runs, and that's all good. But getting out in such a way is quite poor. Well, Sammy Curran comes in. He's got a better average than Pope anyway. And
he also has a great jingle.
He has a great jingle, indeed.
Of course.
Teamwork there.
Yeah.
I toss it you where you nod it on.
Is he a better or bowler? Sam Curran. What's his distinguishing feature? Sam Curran. His dad's from Zimbabwe. Sam Curran. And he's beloved by Liz Yates. Sam Curran.
Very good over this by Southey, isn't it? 3 dot balls in the wicket.
Yeah. He's been trying to tempt him now, hasn't he? They've been aggressive. You just need to put them back in the box for a while and go back to, as you say, getting 2 and over for a little bit, boring them into trying something else and bowling it closer to your pad so that you can bash it away because you're not prepared to play it outside the off stump.
The trouble with that is you've now got Butler and Curran at the wicket. So you're not going to play 2 and over, are you?
No, you're not.
They don't have that kind of radar, do they?
Well, no, they don't. Oh, wow.
Oh, that's close.
That's close.
That's out.
Given first ball, Curran. I don't know. I'd be reviewing that. I think that might be going down.
Again, I'd be giving that bare.
Yeah, you would be. I think I'd review it.
He has reviewed it.
I think that's, as we saw yesterday, my eyes have completely gone. But, that seemed to be swinging a bit down, and it hit him probably in line with leg and was going a bit further down. He was on the crease. It seemed to be dipping quite a lot late. We'll have a look anyway. It's not a no ball. Let's have a look.
Well, if it is out, Calypso is happening, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it is.
Very much so.
Actually, I don't know. I think it's clipping the outside of the leg.
It was already given. That's definitely not going to be.
In this
not
instance,
an issue of height at all.
There's not an issue of height. He's on the crease.
Unless that's swinging a bit more than we think.
Well, that's what I thought. I thought it was in when I first saw it, and I also thought it hit him marginally a bit further to the leg. He didn't hit it. Let's just get on with it. Yeah, there's no inside edge.
I think he clips.
Yeah, I think
his
he's
own
clipping.
pad with the bat on the way through.
That's out. It's hitting. In fact, it's hitting leg stump. It's a golden duck. It's hitting middle and leg. And Sammy Curran, well, we talked not much about him, and we won't be talking much more about him as he truddles off.
After you've gone.
And England is starting to fuck this up. It's really annoying.
Tim Etheringham says there's something purely beautiful about the Bay Oval. It just looks like a major grade cricket oval like Drummoyne Oval in Sydney, and yet here it is hosting a test match. Yes, it is. Andrew Rollison, well, he said diagonally, and then I realised why. Guerrilla Cricket had replied to Mogg, suggesting I had my finger up the Pope. A bishop must climb through the clerical ranks somehow, and the reply was diagonally from Andrew. So I can kind of see how that conversation took shape. Adelaide Barmies, morning chaps.
Run, isn't it?
Yeah, good morning. Says morning chaps. Says Adelaide Barmies. Lovely day here. 6 hours of health and safety training, then beers. Oh, that's the idea. Have the beers first. That would be much more fun.
Well, exactly.
Mark Zip, hello Mark, says Guerrilla Cricket Half Bear. Yes, please tell me faster and my sister Elizabeth Pisani that they should go see the new Star Wars with me in December. Also, thanks for the computer chat this afternoon.
Yeah, we had computer chat because our computers are so slow, and it was sending me some things to do. But I think it's all to do with bloody PCs. They're just shit. I mean, these things take so long to fucking boot up. It's ridiculous. And they are quite old. But I mean, they don't have to do a lot, really.
Here's one I don't fully understand. Hey Tony, your jingles training is about as successful as your attempt to explain the link between climate change and the bushfires, drought, storms, etc. to the Australian government.
Are you trying to do that?
I'm very grumpy with their bullshit. I wasn't trying to do that, which is why I'm
well,
confused.
Well, it seems to me. Who was that?
That's Imagine.
Imagine. It seems to me that the fucking Australian government are total denial.
Well, that might be the case, but I'm not sure why I've been any way guilty of unsuccessfully explaining it.
Well, this is true.
So I'm a bit confused on that one. Perhaps someone can explain. PJ Mead says, I'll see the last Star Wars film with my wife and friends. The trouble is, they want to go into the local Neverspoons. I guess I'll have tap water. Okay.
Well, I've got to say, I usually have a big zoot before I go to the cinema. It's always good. Relaxes you. Gives you the munchies. Get some popcorn. And watch that movie.
Lord Grubby's now saying, no wonder they carry him around on that stretcher.
What?
It's the Pope again.
We're back to the Pope.
Who's been chucked, simultaneously fingered and chucked out a window, apparently. Which is, and I'm somehow responsible for all of it, whilst I'm also failing to explain climate change to the Australian government.
Well, you're a busy man, Tony. You're a busy man.
Singularly failing. I'm also failing to give proper training on jingles here as well.
That's true.
No,
I've also been blamed.
I don't think that's anything to do with you, Tony.
Well, apparently it is.
Well, I think we should be having a change, people in the green room. It's drinks, which means it's an hour has gone.
Jay Grover, pick up the dog, put it in the box, cut it in half, move to the side, sorted. I actually don't know what that link relates to either.
England's players.
Sounds rather worrying.
It does. Lou Britton Sack, good afternoon, good evening, and bollocks. Stuck in traffic on the Bay Bridge in San Francisco. Spit the dog says hello. Spit the dog. Good old Bob Carroll-Blease, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Bob Carroll-Blease split the dog.
I can think of worse places to be stuck in traffic than
Well,
the bridge in San Francisco.
I've cycled over. Oh, that's the Bay Bridge. I've cycled over the Golden Gate Bridge. I haven't cycled
Yeah.
over the Bay Bridge.
It's a
John Perry very
pretty
quickly says,
beautiful
my favourite,
spot."
yeah, indeed, my favourite historical event has to be the second defenestration of Prague. I mean, to be defenestrated once in Prague might be a misfortune, but twice is careless. To paraphrase Oscar Wilde. But there we go.
Well, the new batsman is the big man. It's Joffre.
Well, yeah, all of a sudden we're sort of top of the tail now, aren't we?
Well, we are indeed.
Those 3 wickets, and it's a different looking game. You've got to say, well done, New
300's
Zealand.
looking a bit far.
Yeah.
Never mind 4.
Joffre needs a jingle.
He does.
The World Test Final is at
He
Lords,
does
by the way, Bear.
indeed.
The World Test Championship Final is at Lords.
And here
Is
is Joffre's jingle.
And now it's time for Joffre Archer.
I do like that. That's very good. It's a useful 4.
That is a useful 4. It's leg bias. It's not to Archer. It was going down leg side and
Useful nonetheless.
little inside edge.
It's still a 4.
Indeed, it is. They got a leg slip in for Joffre.
In the name of God.
Me too. Okay.
Indeed.
Where am I going? Okay, I'm going across the jingles. I shall let Knackle come in here. I'll see you shortly.
Tim Southey did not become the third New Zealand bowler to take a test hat-trick, but all of a sudden England find themselves in a little bit of bother. Tim Southey's got 3 wickets in 2 overs, 2 of them with not particularly good deliveries in truth. Trent Bolt is in from the other end, bowling to Joss Butler, who's been watching the carnage from the other end. He clips this calmly up to mid-on. There's an easy single rather. He's on 10. Archer has yet to score. England 291 for 7, having been 277 for 4.
Yeah, it's a couple of poor shots really from Stokes and Pope. Really, I mean it's hard to have a go at Stokes when he gets 91, but you kind of want him to go on from there. And Pope looked a bit over eager. I think it's
I think Stokes' was a bit of an overconfident shot as well. Charging
it
Tim
was,
Southey,
but
trying to drive on
having
the
got
up.
91, you know, he's done his job for the team.
Bolt
really.
in full outside off stump, but this one angles across Joffre Archer. No swing back into the right-hander. He opens the face nicely and might have got off the mark with 4. Opens the face. It's a very full delivery which he opened the face to and guided it out to the third man boundary. Mitchell Santner had to chase this from deep cover point. We'll see if he managed to snag this before getting to the rope. He's got his hand on the ball there. I think he's done very well, in fact. He's flicked the ball away and just managed to miss the ball as he slides past it, demolishing the boundary sponge.
It's not a sponge, it's one of those cardboard
triangle Toblerone things. Yes, I think he's done very well there, Mitchell Santner.
Got away with it, yeah.
Oh no, the ball has rolled back where the rope would have been. I think that might be 4.
What, is it? I don't know if it is.
Yeah, it is 4 runs. Okay. 4 runs, Jofra Archer off the mark.
Okay, so they do count that. I didn't know they did or not.
Well, you can't move the sponge back and then just make back the barrel.
Yeah, I thought they could actually. But
bolt into Jofra Archer, left arm over the wicket. Back of a length, edged and good catch by Tim Southey at second slip. Trent Bolt finally has a wicket. Again, angling across Jofra Archer. He had a prod at it as it went. Tim Southey took a good low catch to his right. Trent Bolt is in the wickets. England 295 for 8.
Fucking dreadful.
Bit of a prod, a little bit quicker that time from Trent Bolt, held back a little bit in terms of the length, and Archer just could not withdraw the bat in time. Jofra Archer gone for 4 off 3.
Right, I should get through some tweets whilst we're in the interregnum. It says the World Championship is going to be at Lords. David said, just tuned in, I'll take responsibility for post wicket, # white smoke.
Which means to me, unless India are playing another subcontinental team, they ain't winning the World Chess Championship.
Nick Martin says, kiss the ring, talking about Pope, presumably. Paul Houth asks, who's the fellow on jingles? Alex Stewart's chirpy brother. Talking about John.
Yep.
Evan Cowley says, and here it comes again. Bloody hell. Collapso cricket.
It's rubbish, man.
PJ Mead says, I'm encouraging the wife to get involved with that culture, talking to Subtle Knife. Whatever culture that is.
Star Wars. Jeddah was the planet that was formed most of Rogue One.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Can someone bring me a beer, please? One of those little punk IPAs from the bottom of the fridge. That'd be lovely.
Deb Oki says, I said we'd be all about my lunch, but doesn't add to the obligatory doomed.
Yeah, but you say that every single test match, regardless of who's playing.
Exactly.
An end open, or a couple of ends open, and Joss Buttler finds himself yet again batting with the tail, but he's got an obdurate partner, his old Somersettian friend, if Somersettian is indeed the adjective.
And it's this man.
Coming up, here's a face that I know. It's Jack Leach.
In comes Bolt, many a slip away. Good full delivery from Trent Bolt, swinging away from Jack Leach. Buttler would have been run out by a mile if that had hit a cover. I think it's Henry Nichols who picked up the ball and flung it in very quickly. A rather lazy single from Leach and Buttler. I think whichever end Nichols had thrown at, had he hit, it would have been a run out. Buttler was jogging, really. There's a bit of a stutter and a scurry. England are slightly discombobulated all of a sudden.
Well, you'd think with...
Buttler called that as well, didn't he?
He did.
Nichols picked up and threw, and Buttler wasn't even in the frame if that had hit.
You'd think with 2 guys who've played since the age of 12 together.
Yes, you think they'd be a little bit better than that. Yeah, Leach dropped it into the offside, dug it out the Yorker very well, took a couple of steps down the wicket, looked up at Buttler. No one seemed to quite be sure whose call that was. It should have been Leach's, really. Back of a length, and Buttler plays this solidly to point. There is no run.
Garrett Dusseldorp says, if a pitch is lowish with little bounce, shouldn't Broad bat higher than 11? They can't bounce him out and he'll score a 50. I don't think they can. Maybe they can't get the ball high enough, but they can certainly try.
Well, you know exactly what's going to happen when Broad comes in. Neil Wagner will be on, and then if he survives a little bit, he might flash a 25 or so, but equally he could also be caught at short leg. Back of a length from Trent Bolt, angling across Buttler, who plays this solidly to cover. There is no run.
And Mark Ship says to Daniel Harris, perhaps tell Nell Smith 101st over, that there's the coverage at Guerrilla Cricket on TuneIn, YouTube, Symbol Radio, Facebook, and GuerrillaCricket.com.
Yeah,
and any other collator out there that nicks our feed.
Yeah, we're everywhere, fans. England at 296 for 8. You're listening to Guerrilla Cricket's coverage of England's tour of New Zealand. You join us partway through the first session of day 2 of the first test in Maunganui. Butler is on 10, Leach on 1. Butler has seen absolute carnage around him and will have to provide a steadying hand, as he often does, batting with the tail. It is a role he performs very well and did a couple of times during the Ashes, putting on good lower order partnerships, and Jack Leach, well, little more needs to be said of his obduracy down the order.
Plenty of puns here from Adrian Lowe and others. Simar about Pope and defenestration and Bishops.
3 slips in the gully for Southey as he's into the left-handed Jack Leach. Plays this very nicely through the covers. A little bit over pitch from Southey. Leach just puts back to ball and it races away from Kane Williamson. Kane will not beat ball, and then Kane thuds into boundary board. 4 runs to Jack Leach.
It's Nissan She.
That's the one.
It's Nissan She.
Don't tease
And
me.
England's 300 is up. 300 for 8 after 104.1 overs. Very nicely played indeed by Jack Leach.
He looked like he'd given up and then he thought he better drive right at the end, even though it's lost course.
Yeah, it was a real teaser from Jack Leach, wasn't it?
Yep.
We've had one entry in the GPL, and Oscar Mack is in on 264. That's the first entry for the GPL today. The pot is 82. You've got about 48 minutes to get in. And
there's a bit of a conference going on between Kane Williamson and Tim Southey. The cover fielder moved in. In fact, third slip has gone into short extra cover, so 2 slips in the gully, point, short extra cover, and mid-off up in the offside as Southey is in to Jack Leach. Drags his length back a bit, angles this across Leach, who leaves alone through to BJ Watling. Behind the stumps, there is no run.
got 140%
Chris Dew at Messelman says, Bob Calgi's mother used to knit my jumpers as a kid.
Really?
There's obscure claims to fame for you.
Absolutely.
Armchair Cricket Podcast is bigging up Southeast spell today compared to Southeast spell yesterday.
To be honest, I don't think he's bowled that well all match.
I agree. I think he's profited for some loose shots
and some good catching. That was a fantastic catch that Ross Taylor took to get rid of Ben Stokes. But 4 for 63, not to be sniffed at. However they come. In comes Tim Southey, hair standing up on end like he's put his finger in an electrical socket. That was a slower ball bouncer which barely got to BJ Watling. Leach ducked in telegraphed fashion and it looped over his back through to BJ Watling. There is no run.
That Pope shot was really poor.
Yeah, he was really reaching for it. The feet went nowhere. It wasn't full enough for the stroke, and was suckered hook, line and sinker, almost like being beaten in the flight by a spinner.
Yeah, totally.
What were you talking about earlier, Bear? Because Jake over says it was in honour of Bear's big box, little box.
In comes Southey, full angling across Jack Leach through to the keeper. There is no run. Southey's definitely deliberately bowling underpaced to try and aid swing. Everything's in the 120 odd kilometre an hour mark. Bolt, by contrast, is bowling quite a bit quicker in the high 130s.
And Ravi Nair says, talking about England collapses being always one ball away, and says, I refer you to my prestidigitational prognostication of yesterday, and sends us the tweet which he refers
Southey
to.
in, fuller and straighter and swinging, but swinging from middle and leg. It's an easy clip off the toes for Jack Leach down to Trent Bolt on the long leg boundary. They come through for a single, and Leach is now apparently farming the strike.
Looks that way. Strike rate of 100 he's got. He's doing all right.
And Matt Searle at Oracle Matt says, going to sleep listening to the cricket and another England collapse. It's like I'm a teenager all over again.
No.
Brilliant coverage from Guerrilla Cricket these days rather than BBC TMS though.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oracle Matt. He usually enters the GPL. Come on, Oracle. What do you say for today?
In comes Southey, last ball of the over. Butler in behind this one very solidly. He's looked pretty unruffled with the few deliveries he's had to face in the last half an hour of carnage or so. He's on 10 off 15, Leach on 6 off 6, England 301 for 8 after 105.
And John Perry at Bailey's Tricycle says, so England new grind it out test mentality under Silverwood has lasted precisely 1 day.
Yeah, I mean, the middle order obviously is made up more of dashes, as a lot of Test middle orders are. Stokes got a little bit carried away, Pope got a little bit carried away, and Curran got a good ball, first ball. And,
I mean, you can't blame Curran. I mean, that happens. It was an in-swinger, full, swinging back to it, his stump. So.
We do have a change of bowling. Trent Bolt is out of the attack. Out of the attack immediately after getting a wicket, which is a little bit harsh, but with the tail very much in as somebody sits on the remote, the armpit seeker has come on to bowl.
Why have you changed the channel?
That's Neil Wagner. He's my boss. And when he takes 5 wickets in an over, it was moida.
Meanwhile, I shall get through some more tweets.
First ball is left alone through the keeper and there's no run. What happened there? Someone sit on it.
Yes.
You've been corrected, Knackle. The word is demonym, not adjective.
Demonym? What does that mean?
Well, demonym is the adjective that refers to where somebody is from, i.e. French for France.
Oh, okay.
Summer season.
I've got to say, I get really annoyed with this. You know, my kids now, this whole spag shit.
Oh yeah, the spelling, punctuation, and grammar. That's down the leg side from Neil Wagner, a little bit fuller. Jack Leach gets himself in a rather odd position, falls well across outside the line of off stump as he tries to flick to leg, misses through to the keeper. It goes. There is no run.
You don't need any of them as long as you get the meaning across.
No. The thing is, in your mother tongue, you learn how to think, write, whatever. I don't think what an adjective is, or a noun, or a verb, and I understand there's an importance to it, and there was an importance to it when I learned it, but the way that my kids learn now, it's much like bloody phonetics.
2 slips and a gully, 3 men up in the offside. This is well wide of off stump, and Leach leaves alone through to the keeper. There is no run. It's true, you don't learn your mother tongue in the same way that you learn a foreign language.
No, exactly. And like I have all these questions for like 9-year-olds, and all these really,
about parts of speech and
absolute parts of speech that I can't tell you what they are. To be honest.
My partner's a professional editor and doesn't know some of them, but not all of them. I probably know them more in Latin than I do in English.
That's what I mean. You do learn those things in a foreign language. So that's kind of how you treat them.
Back of a length from Wagner, and Leach firmly in behind this one, pushes up to skipper Williamson at mid-off. There is no run. So there's 2 slips on the gully. Point cover mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket, and a man back at long leg. A pretty standard field. Wagner not going for anything outrageous in terms of field placings, and nothing that would herald a bouncer barrage, but it's Neil Wagner. It can't be too far away.
And a tail-ender to face.
Yes, indeed, although albeit a very solid one.
A very solid one.
In fact, there we go. The square leg's gone back onto the hook. Q Yorker. Shortish and wideish outside off stump. Leach has a flash. Is absolutely nowhere near it. Through to the keeper it goes. There is no run.
He didn't move his feet at all there, did he? He just slapped at it from a stationary position.
He's never going to get near that, was he?
No.
Chris Quire has summed up the last half hour pretty well. He says, doze off listening to Test cricket, woke up to the collapse worthy of T10.
Oh, it's just...
And Ewan Cowley makes a prediction, a fairly bold prediction. He says, debutant for Jack Leach coming up. Oh, I wish that were true. He should have had one in this summer.
As Wagner's in full outside off stump and left alone by Leach. Through to the keeper, there is no run. A maiden in his first over of the day for Neil Wagner. Leach on 6, Butler on 10.
He got a bit nervous, didn't he, against Ireland, really? Because he was back.
He slowed up as he was getting into the 90s.
Yeah, totally. He did. Unfortunately, you could see he froze up, which is a shame. But 96 as a night watchman. It's a pretty good game.
England at 301 for 8.
Oh, this is it. I don't know if he's just changed his handle, but Simar has handle is incoming turkeys, which pretty much sums up England's batting at the moment. And says, to follow on the discussion of the second defenestration of Prague, it's actually the third that started the 30 Years' War.
Lots of religious and political figures being thrown out of windows.
Yes. And Dave Emrich says, I think I preferred it when we were constantly 40 for 4. Top order collapses were less emotionally draining. You can accept the inevitable without the hope tearing your insides apart.
You people we just can't win with you people, can we? Southey's in 4 for 64 as Butler tries to force him through the offside, gets in no position to play the stroke, and off the inside part of the bat it dribbles back to Tim Southey. There is no run.
He's in a bit of an invidious position now, Butler. Does he stick or twist? I think with
he
Jack
can
there,
trust Jack Leach.
If Jack Leach is there, and
even if Broad can bat,
Yeah, he's not exactly permanent, but he can score runs. The deep point has gone back for Tim Southey. There's 2 men back on the hook, I think, as well. That's a glorious shot from Joss Butler. It was a length delivery, and he's just lofted it up and over mid-on. No one within 30 yards of where that landed. A perfectly safe shot, 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, it's picked up off a length like it's a one-day international. Golf chip over mid-on for 4. And now if they push the mid-on back, he can take an easy single.
Yep.
They shouldn't push the mid-on back, incidentally, but they might. Well, he's gone back a little bit, and Butler did try and work that into the leg side for a single. In fact, he probably would have got the single if he'd wanted it, but they decided not to take it. There is no run.
I think he thinks there's another boundary shot this over before he needs to start farming the strike.
I don't think he really needs to farm the strike.
And he doesn't need
Leach.
to farm the strike either, no, I agree.
He'll be thinking that though. I mean, if he can get another, from here, you've won another 50 or 60 with Butler at the crease, farming a strike. Anything more than that would be a bonus. Anything less, you can't knock it. I mean, the thing is, they've got a score on the board. You just want it to be higher, don't you? I mean, from where they were.
Southey in short ball, and Butler picks up the length very early, and front foot pulls this out to Mitchell Santner at deep square leg. They come through for a single, 306. Well, you'd probably take 350, 360 if that's where England
exactly. But where you were, you'd
want 425,
400 plus.
Yeah, for sure. But then again, they lost 4 for 18 in 20 balls.
Yeah,
so if they
precisely, and it can happen,
Jonathan Shorland says, it's fabulous to be back for day 2 with Guerrilla Cricket after all these short games.
Yeah, no, it's good to have a test match back on.
Yes, T20s in the middle of the night is not exactly our idea of fun either.
And some of the games were quite
They
fun.
were good games.
I mean, they were quite fun, yeah. But they are so popcorn, aren't they, really? And they're just...
penultimate ball of the over. Southey round the wicket to Jack Leach. Half an LBW a shout from Ross Taylor in that he put one hand up, then immediately put it down. Clearly going down leg. Leg by ensues as the ball rolls out to deep square leg.
And James Humberson is just leaving us now for a meeting. He says, if we could organise New Zealand to be 10 for 3 in about an hour, that would be great.
Oh, that'd be nice.
It would be very nice.
Yeah. And Kane Williamson in a hutch.
Kane Williamson run out Ross Taylor.
Not uncommon.
So is Tom Latham opening?
Yeah, Latham's been opening for New Zealand for years.
Yeah, he's the best rated opener last year.
Yeah, he scored a big double 100 at one point last year to go with a few other good scores as well. That's full and wide outside off stump. That's a great shot by Joss Butler. Lovely wrist there to make sure that he got it into the gap between cover point and gully. 4 runs to end the over. He's on 19.
There's not one boy for me. I must have 2 or 3. I need 4.
England 311 for 8. This kind of makes the shots that Stokes and Pope played all the more odd, because it's not as though England were finding it difficult to score.
No, but they looked like they were trying to force it too quickly, and that's what I was saying. It's first hour of day 2.
They've been given the wrong message to press on, I think.
mean,
I'm not even sure of that. Like, they were scoring freely anyway. There's no need to particularly force the issue.
Well, they were scoring freely, but admittedly they were coming down the track. I mean, I think they realised, especially to
De Grandom,
he's so slow, and they realised that you're better off going to meet the ball rather than letting it come to you, because there's so little pace in the pitch. But even then, you don't have to be, you get to the pitch of the ball. If you're not right and it's not quite there to hit, then you can still defend it. You don't have to go through with a shot and try and smash it out of the ground.
I thought
which is a bit frustrating.
Wagner in outside off stump, and Leach prods this to point, and there is no run.
When there's so much time left in the game, and they kind of put them on the back foot in the first couple of overs by hitting those early couple of 4s, and you can just calm down and let them bowl to you. They're going to get tired sooner or later.
Armchair Cricket Podcast has reminded us that an ideal day has begun if you're a Test match fan, because there's New Zealand v England, then accompanied by Australia versus Pakistan, and finishes just in time for India versus Bangladesh.
Yes, indeed. Wagner in. There's the short ball, and well played by Jack Leach, or well not played. Drops to his knees and sways inside the line of the ball through to Watling. It goes, there is no run. Yes, we were expounding on that theme of Test cricket everywhere in the podcast that Tony and Tim and I just recorded. It's up on Patreon now if you're a Patreon subscriber. Patreon.com/Guerrilla Cricket. It'll be, and you can get it before anybody else.
And Senior Peel says, "What happened? I went for a quick post-word nap at 270 for 4, and I wake up in England. I've ruined everything."
Wagner follows up the
nice
short
shot.
ball with a fuller delivery into the angled into the stumps, but Leach clips this nicely off his sort of knee roll, and they come through for a well-run 3, I think. Well-run indeed by Leach and Butler into the gap between long leg and the man at almost deep mid-wicket.
And Alan Forsyth has rejoined us. He says, "I'm back and no one has lost a wicket since I ran out of battery. Perhaps I should go off again."
No.
Who exactly are you supporting, Anna?
That was pretty obvious, I think.
Mother cricket.
Actually, Wagner and Bolt bowled exclusively from the Mount end yesterday. They're bowling from the City end today. And I think Bolt probably bowled a little bit better today than he did yesterday. Certainly seemed to be able to get his lines a little bit better than he did yesterday. Wagner and Bolt both play for Northern District, so should be quite used to this ground, which is one of Northern District's home ground. Butler tries to force this off the back foot, and that one slightly rose on him more than he was expecting, and comes off the sort of top part of the bat out to deep point. They don't take the single. The field was well spread for him to do so.
That's interesting. Why not? I don't think.
Yeah, we saw this a little bit during the Ashes. That Butler was. I understand the impulse for Butler to try and face as many balls as possible, but it's not as though he needs to protect Leach particularly.
No.
I don't think it's a protection thing. It's a maximising run scoring thing, potentially.
Possibly.
Wagner in. Butler deep in the crease and tries to launch him back over his head. Was nowhere near that.
That was a proper golf shot, man. that was just like a golf swing through the ball.
Yeah, he kept his head down, I guess. That's about the only thing that shot had going for it. But he played that shot through the line of off stump, and the ball was about two stumps wider of where it was.
If he had got it, it would have gone a bloody long way.
Now second slip has come out to a sort of short mid-wicket, so we've got a slip, a gully, a deep point, a cover, mid-off and mid-on both set quite a long way back, an orthodox mid-wicket in place, and a man back at deep square leg, I think, or possibly long leg. Wagner in. Butler getting funky and confuses Neil Wagner considerably. Butler stepped across outside leg stump, then stepped way across outside off stump. Wagner fired it down leg, and Butler tries to play the scoop shot through the vacant fine leg region. Missed it because it was miles down leg. Good take by BJ Watling. There is no run. End of the over.
Our own Grubby says, "Nigel Walker should start trolling Ian Smith by writing in the left hand of his notes by the barest of margins."
Very good.
And Mayank says, "Watching this on an online stream of Sky Sports, so I'm 2 balls behind, but it's just too much of a pain in my arse to try and pause you guys until it's synced up."
That's fine. You can have us. You can have us being excited, and then wait a little bit to find out what happened.
Exactly.
Oh, the anticipation. Sorry, anticipation.
The secret to comedy is timing. England 314 for 8. Butler on 19 off 23. Leach on 9 off 16.
Look where those wicket balls are. I mean, there's one hitting the stumps.
That was the Curran one.
That was the Curran one. Those two that are quite close to stumps were reasonable, maybe, but all those other ones are miles away from the
Well, I think the one that Sibley got was just outside off stump.
Exactly. I think that's that one that's near the red ball on the left.
Yeah,
but all the others,
and the
one away from the body,
one from Rory Burns was angling across him. Southey gets this one to swing back into the left-handed Jack Leach, who pushes slightly aerially, but well short of Trent Bolt at wide-ish mid-on. There is no run.
Paul Talkington on YouTube says, "And Bolty continues his run, a wicket in every innings he's bowled in New Zealand since 2015.
It's pretty impressive. That's very impressive indeed.
Impressive.
I think he's probably bowled better than Tim Southey, and yet Southey's got 4 for 73. In he comes, looking for that fiver up to the crease, and Bowles gets this one to swing into Leach back over the wicket now, and Leach plays this from the crease into the offside. There is no run. it would be his 8th 5-wicket haul. Ninth, in fact, 5-wicket haul, Tim Southey.
And more from YouTube. Mark Shepherd says Bear looks very relaxed.
I'm pretty relaxed. Had a good night's sleep. I got to bed at about 6 in the morning. Got up at about 12.
And Slovenia Dave says, I think you'd be better if you had a pipe rather than e-cig. Not for his health, he wouldn't.
In comes Southey, back of a length outside, off stump, left alone by Leach, through to the keeper. There is no run. We should be having a change at the end of this over. It's just coming up to 11:30 UK time.
Still early, really. Ish,
Yes,
anyway.
it's officially
For me.
It's not officially tomorrow yet. No. Still only the one GPL entry, that from Oscar Mack. You have just over half an hour to do so. Enter the GPL, and the GPL is our game of prediction and skill. You guess the number of runs that will be scored in today's play. You pay £1 per guess, and your pounds go into the pot. And if you're bang on, you win the pot. Good delivery from Tim Southey, searching on off stump, and Leach defends to cover. There is no run. The pot is currently £82, so for a £1 stake, that's not bad at all. The way you enter is go to gorillacricket.com/competition and follow the instructions contained therein. Seeing how Ollie Pope was slightly set up by Tim Southey by 3 deliveries which angled into him from wide of the crease, and then the one that just went away, and Pope was not really set for the shot and ended up just flashing it straight to VJ Watling. Penultimate ball of the over from Southey is a good Yorker, swinging into Jack Leach, and he defends this nicely back to the bowler. There is no run. Considerable swing from Tim Southey, who is slowly warming to his task. Probably bowled better in the few overs since getting 3 wickets in 2 overs than he did during getting 3 wickets in 2 overs. Well dug out by Jack Leach. Those free Specsavers glasses doing him credit. A bit of a chat between Bolt and Southey. Those two very experienced and very complimentary partners. Tim Southey, hair standing up on end, in from the mount end, wide of the crease from round the wicket. Good stop from the man at cover as Leach drives pleasantly into the offside. Gets one hand on it. Williamson tidies up at mid-off. There is no run. Jack Leach again farms the strike. He moves to 10. Joss Butler is on 19. England, after 109 overs, 315 for 8.
And we're going to have it Rihanna for real this time.
Yep. You owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills. So please, go to patreon.com/gorillacricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/gorillacricket.
Well, it's been an eventful morning. Be desperately ironic, wouldn't it, if England, having had so much trouble with their top order, suddenly the top order sorts itself out, and then the lower middle order and the tail, which has been relied upon to jack up innings, suddenly falls apart on them.
Yeah, it's like a wet piece of paper.
How so? That's a very interesting analogy, but explain how it works.
It just crumples and it's all soggy and there's no structural rigidity to it.
No structural rigidity. Quite right. Wise words from Jason, who's moved on into the jingle seat, and John Batham has moved into Tweetchair, and that ball from Wagner pitched a little bit short, and Leach was able to rock back and let it through to BJ Watling behind the stumps, and we are likely to see a few of those, I would venture, from Neil Wagner, who's coming around the wicket to the left-handed Leach. Hendo was talking about his free Specsavers glasses. There they are. I don't know whether he's got his spectacle cloth in his pocket. I'm sure he does. There's a man in, of course there is, at forward short leg, as Wagner again digs it in a little bit short, but not as short as the previous one, and didn't get up as much, and Leach played it very nicely, actually.
Yeah, he's nice and compact, so it's nice and easy.
He is.
There's a guy at sort of second leg slip, really, also to catch the one that he just gets off the edge.
Yeah, they do operate.
One away.
They do operate this sort of leg theory, don't they, for Wagner? It's a pretty clearly telegraphed tactic. Leach, his trigger movements as to step in from sort of outside off almost in front of his stumps again. He just drops a bat on this. It drops away into the onside. There's no run. Yeah, well, from 241 for 4 overnight, a platform beautifully built. It fell apart in 18 balls this morning as England lost
Painstakingly built
4
yesterday.
wickets. Painstakingly built. Yes, yeah, your what was it? Your wet piece of paper. And in comes Wagner again. Short dug into the rib cage of Jack Leach, but he plays it very nicely indeed, and it's away in the offside this time. The wickets, of course, Stokes, Curran first ball, Pope, they went to Tim Southey. He was absolutely on fire this morning. And then Bolt accounted for Jofra Archer. Of course he did.
I'm not sure you'd say he was really on fire. I mean, 2 of those shots were really unnecessary and
fair enough.
Over-expansive.
In comes Wagner, coming in around the wicket to the left-handed Leach. Leach again, very nicely up onto his toes. And across jogs Wagner to field off his own bowling. We have a 1 ball shy of what would be or will be a maiden over if this continues to be no run. Leach is summoning up the spirit of Headingley 2019.
Will this be the full-length ball now after 4 or 5 shorter ones that he's just walked across and covered his stumps with his, because he knows it's going over the top?
I would not bet against it, Jason.
Well,
spoken like a bowler of many years'
it
experience.
also gives you the plan. If he does nick it away for a single, then he's on strike again at the other end.
Yeah,
he's never going to get a ball that's short. He's too easy not to play.
Well, we've also seen as well, haven't we, that Buttler is not especially keen to run those.
Oh, well, there's definitely pressure coming on now.
Yep.
The silly mid-off is in. He's just fiddling with his privates and putting the protection in place.
Indeed. So we have a silly mid-off, we have a forward short leg, we have a leg slip. We'll have a man on the pull. We can't see him in our camera shot, but we know he's there. In comes Wagner. Short! Back rocks Leach. It's through to BJ Watling, who wattles it successfully. And it is a maiden over. And we will ask John what is happening on various social media platforms.
Slovenler Dave has just got in contact to say there's something slightly bizarre about a man sitting in Ghana watching 3 men in England talking about 22 men in New Zealand throwing leather balls at pieces of wood.
Summed it up brilliantly.
Superb, yeah.
Thank you for that.
Anna Forsyth says, I'm back and no one's lost a wicket since I ran out of battery. Perhaps I should go again.
Really? Where did your battery... You were on 5%, Anna, from what I can remember. But I can't remember at what stage of England's collapse this morning you had that 5%. But hopefully you are now fully recharged in every sense. And we're going to see yesterday's hero. I say yesterday's hero because I thought he bowled magnificently. It is the man with the jingle we adore so much. So I'm going to stop talking and let Jason play it.
I turned to look, but I was gone. I cannot see my own reflection.
And as of we can't finish it. And that one was short actually. De Grandon, and it's given us a wide. Umpire Oxenford, in his shieldless arm, is spread wide to indicate that. Yeah, it was a shocking ball actually.
Well, that's
having lauded his efforts yesterday, that was an absolute stinker.
Well, that is the archetypal loosener where you just bang it in in front of your toes,
wasn't it? That's a better ball. Taken down at ankle height by BJ Watling outside of Butler's off stump, and he's quite happy to ignore that one.
That said, I'm sure Josh Butler is inventive enough to invent a shot for that particular delivery.
Oh, he is. Well, we were saying in the green room, I'll hold the thought for a second as de Grandon barrels his way in, and Butler gets tidily into line, and there's no run. Yeah, we were chatting in the green room and saying that in a way it's almost a no-lose for Josh Butler. He's come in late. Everyone's collapsed around him. He's left with Jack Leach. He can kind of play his own game now.
Yes.
And it is going to be about quicker runs. Oh, and he's completely mistimed that pull. It didn't come onto him as quick as he thought it would. In his mind's eye, that would already be crashing into the square leg boundary. In reality, he pulled it around almost at 360 degrees. It was it came off his arm actually. He played underneath it. Funny old shot.
This is a very smart move from Kane Williamson. He's taking the pace off the ball and making Butler put all the pace on himself.
A smart move from Williamson should not surprise us, as Butler does get on top of this, puts it away to backward point, and they will take a single, and Jack Leach will come back onto strike. Because there'll be 2 balls left of this over, of course, because of that shocker of a wide that Monsieur de Condom served up first up.
As we all know, bowling is done in partnerships, and then we've got short and aggressive at one end, and not particularly quick and accurate at the other end. They are complementing.
Oh, and that one, that's been a bit of a stock ball for de Grandon, particularly to left-handers. Is sort of just marginally short of a length outside of off stump that seems to then sort of angle its way into them and give them no room to work with. And they executed it perfectly again there.
I think talking about bowling in partnerships, guys, that was something else that we were talking about earlier, and saying that this is the advantage of de Grandhomme, that he can literally just bottle up an end by sort of over after over after over. And the question is, who's going to do that for England in the lineup that we've got?
That was guided beautifully by Leach, just slid wide of third slip, away down to third man. He'll get 2 for it. So it concludes the over. It keeps him at the non-striker's end and puts 2 on the total for England. He played that beautifully, did Jack Leach. Yeah, just wide of second slip. There is no third slip. There is a gully. And to the manner born, Jack Leach. He gets more and more. It goes up in my estimation as a batsman every time I see him.
The man to bottle and end up for England is probably Stuart Broad. He's the one who has a pretty good economy ratio.
He does.
But he's also your strike bowler when he wants to be. So there isn't really a specialist role, I think, for that.
The think tank is in operation. We have Bolton Williamson deep in conversation along with wicketkeeper BJ Watling. But it's going to be Neil Wagner who's going to continue for now. 1 for 80 for him. Not the frugality at all that we've seen from Colin de Grandhomme, and indeed from Tim Southey this morning, although he was a little bit wayward yesterday. And indeed Trent Boult, 319 for 8, 111 overs have been bowled. The run rate's gone up to approaching 3 now. Remember, at one point we were hovering around 2. The flags are billowing. There's quite a breeze here, which I think is sort of blowing right to left for Wagner as he's in. And Butler steers this away to backward point, but diving stop means that there'll be no additional runs scored.
James Humberstone has just tweeted in, Tony, to say, thank God I have one of those meetings to go to. If you could organise New Zealand to be 10 for 3 in about an hour, that would be great.
Thank God you have...
I think you're going in reverse order.
That's
John. I think we had that one about 20 minutes
ago.
Oh, right.
You may be. In comes Wagner, left arm over.
I'm going the wrong way.
Left alone by Butler through to Mr. Watling. 319 for 8. Leach on 12. Butler is on 20 from the 29 he's faced.
Butler looks reasonably unflustered at the moment.
Yes, he does.
Even when he's going for a massive heave over the top.
Well, the one he did heave over the top was pretty much a safe shot, really, because he just played straight through the line, and there was no long on, was there? So it was a safe shot to play. This one, it swings in, kind of very slow, and it almost arced its way in slow motion past Butler and through to Watling, who Butler again felt no need to interfere with that in any way.
Is that the sort of a slightly back of the hand? Oh, it's the
knuckleball. He had his two. His first and second finger were. The knuckle was against the seam, and that one is slanted away from Butler, who equally wants nothing to do with it.
But not only was it a knuckleball, it's a knuckleball that swung. Now, if you roll that, they're in all sorts of trouble.
Well, he is, and yet he's gone for. He's only got 1 wicket for 86. as Neil Wagner. So he often has the sort of enforcer role, John, doesn't he, in this team, does Wagner? He's the guy they go to put a bit of pep into the attack and rough the batsman up a little bit. There was a time, I think in the last series, was it 2018 when England were last here, wasn't it? And
doesn't seem very long ago.
Well, it doesn't seem very long ago, but I seem to recall, over after over from Wagner of short pitch deliveries to try and unsettle England. Well, it certainly worked. He didn't need to bowl them, of course, in the first test of that particular tour, because Bolton Southey did all the work quite comfortably on their own. In he comes again, anyway, to Butler. Butler steers this away through cover. There is a man on that cover boundary. It's Mitchell Santner. And Butler will get himself a single and leave Jack Leach just the one ball remaining of this Wagner over to face. 320 for 8, England.
I think we were saying in the green room as well that Annie would be bound to be tuning into this, and lo and behold, she is. She says, "I need to sleep, but I'm loving this partnership."
Well, she won't be able to sleep if she's got Butler at
Butler Leach.
Butler at one end and Jack Leach at the other. She'll be in Annie heaven, without a doubt. 320 for 8, and there's one ball left of this, the 112th over. It's going to be bowled by Neil Wagner. It's just stopping his run up. There is that leg slip. There's the forward short leg. There is the silly mid off, and there's and that's tickled away round the corner and it evades all of them. But there is a man down at long leg. I think it's Kane Williamson, isn't it?
Oh, that's interesting.
Oh,
don't believe he declined the strike because it was the last ball of the over.
Yeah. Well, but again, yes, I think Butler. I think this is more Butler who's very keen to retain the strike. I mean, they're having a chat about it, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jack Leach is going, "Hey, what's going on? Don't you trust me?" And I think, to be honest, England might as well take those singles, because if I was Josh Butler, I would trust him, wouldn't you?
Runs on the board.
It's pretty solid.
He's
Runs on the board, yeah.
He's got a track record of getting decent runs wherever he's batted against any bowler that's chosen to bowl against him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Jason. Well, we're going to see a change of bowling. It is going to be, how does he shout, how does he call? Trent Bolt's mouth is not one of the largest.
How does he speak or play the horn?
That was it.
Or clean his teeth or even yawn? How does he shout? How does he call? Trent Bolt's mouth is really small.
His mouth is small, but his heart is big, as is his bowling talent. Although he's been pretty expensive. 101 for 89 from 29 for him. 320 for 8 for England. He will be bowling, I think, from the mountain end, or the mount end, do they call it? Mount end and city end, we believe. And it's the mount end he's going to be bowling, and we can see that climbing frame away to the left of us. And this one is angled in to Butler, who, with an absolute economy of effort, just waits for the ball onto the bat, drops the bat on it, and back to Bolt it bobbles, as Butler goes through a few stretching and jumping on the spot exercises, just making sure he's
pretty much de rigueur for any wicketkeeper batsman, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah, they're seldom still. In comes Bolt, left arm around the wicket, and pushed away to mid-off by Butler, who immediately turns on his heels and walks away towards backward square leg, has a little think about things. Bit of chat going on. Colin de Grandom there. I remember the interview with him. I heard Colin de Grandom. He sounded terribly quite softly spoken, I think, and somehow you expect him to be quite sort of burly sort of figure, and he didn't sound the way he looked somehow. This one is dropped short, but I went for the pull, but I think he pulled out of the pull in as much as he sort of dropped the bat underneath it. So he spun round in the motion of a pull, but not really with the intent of laying the bat on the ball in the end. Yeah, he decided. Steering clear of it was the best course of action.
It was getting very big on him. He thought, I can only hit this up rather than flat. So
he did.
I'm not going to take the chance.
And it was a good decision. Bolt is in again, and forward comes Butler. This one he does push down to mid-on, and he will take a single. So he has left Jack Leach 2 to face. Just the one off the over so far.
And we're just looking at Tom Blundell, who's on the pitch for somebody. I wonder who that is.
That's a very good question. I'm not sure. He was the man who was down there at mid-on. Jack Leach. Let's have a look. There is Leach. There's the 2 slips, a gully, a point, mid-off and mid-on, cover and an extra cover. As in comes Bolt. And Leach gets on top of this, cuts it, but he cuts it straight to point. And Mitchell Santner says thank you very much, as he doesn't have to move, it just comes straight to him. We are looking at a gentleman in the crowd who is absolutely fast to kip. Whether that's a surfeit of some splendid New Zealand wine or just the result of a late night the night before, who knows? But
maybe he's got hold of some of Bear's beer.
He was.
You never know, do you?
He was in as a ursine posture. As forward comes Jack Leach and pushes this back to Trent Bolt. And there's no run. How are we doing on
just as well?
messages?
There's not a window, isn't there, really, Tony? But
yes, to be fenestrated from.
Well, Dave JB responded to Annie and said, "Surely you can last until lunch. Hopefully, so can they." And Annie replied and said, "I think I will if they will." So
it sounds about right. I mean, it's obviously doesn't play for Somerset now, but they have sort of history together, don't they? Having grown up through the junior system at Somerset. They bat well together. They complement each other, I think. And
well, they've certainly
England
stopped
could
the rot a bit, haven't they?
Well, yeah, England could still get themselves to a halfway decent score if these two do set about their work and get themselves to lunch. 10 minutes to go, I think.
You'd hope they are the immovable object and the unstoppable force.
Yeah,
yes.
Indeed. Leach being the immovable object, I assume.
I would hope so.
And the force being Joss Butler. 321 for 8. So it's interesting as you look around the crowd. It must have a certain. I'd love to sort of to be there. There's people reclining on the grass banks. They're not exactly wedged in, are they? It seems like a very sort of relaxed way of watching a cricket, and there's nothing wrong with that. This one is slanted across Butler, who mistimes it miserably and gets a bottom edge. And for all the world, that could have just drizzled back onto his stumps. He gets away with it, though.
I think he just played outside it with the angling ball very
he
slightly
did.
And got the inside edge there.
He did again. Maybe he just slightly threw with the shot a little bit too soon. Encouragement for Wagner. Indeed, he's getting a clap of applause and indeed encouragement from his captain, Kane Williamson. Shakes his shoulders, sets himself. Oh, short by Wagner, and it was up and it was down, and it was almost taken on the second bounce by BJ Watling. We all heard that phrase, tennis ball bounce. I mean, that was it, epitomised it really, didn't it?
Well,
up it went and down it went.
Well, that
almost in the same movement.
Died off the pitch. I mean, he banged it in, and you thought that was going to climb quite high, and it didn't really get up as much as Butler thought, so he got quite close to him as he ducked to get away out of the line.
He did. With the various concession vans doing good business, as this one again, almost the same. Wagner slants it across Butler. He's looking to pull. It doesn't get up as much as he expected to, and he may have got just the faintest of bottom edges on it. There's
a definite bottom edge on that.
Yeah. But again, it was just not coming on the way he wanted to the bat. He was looking to chase it. Frustrating if you're a player of Butler's aggressive intent. 321 for 8.
Parks has been in touch and said, "Hello, Gorillas."
Oh, is that Blue String Parks?
It is indeed.
This one is edged, but edged safely down to third man, where Colin de Gromdom does his duties, and they will take a single.
Yeah, he says, conscious of not having been with you thus far, peaky work thing and all, but the weekend is soon upon us.
It is.
And stupidly late nights await. Look forward to your company.
Stupidly for all of us.
Indeed.
For all of us. I did last night as well, and I'm not unique in that. Jason did, and Bear did, the Bear did, Hendo did. I did 2 back-to-back podcasts as well, so I actually started early last night, and I was doing Knuckles' podcast tonight. So yes, I've been busy in my guerrilla duties. In comes Wagner, pushed across Leach. Leach happy to leave that down his leg side, and it's through to Watling, and there is no run. That run rate just dropped a smidge, 2.83 now. It was up at sort of 2.9 earlier. And was that a large cruise ship we're looking at? Yes, it is. It's a very large cruise ship, in fact, in the bay there, behind the...
one of several, in fact.
Yeah, what do you call those sort of tube-like towers? Is it a refinery? I mean, it looks like a refinery, but it may be a brewery. As this one is worked off his hip very nicely, in fact, by Leach. But will they run? Jason, will they run?
They didn't.
No, they won't. No, they won't. Joss Butler's having none of that. That may be your favourite shot. And actually, there was a little look of slight exasperation or frustration there from Jack Leach.
He's going, really? Really, Joss?
Yeah, they're having a joke about it. I'm sure they know each other well enough. But I've got to admit, I'm with you, Jace. Runs on the board. I think I would be a little bit more trusting of my partner if I was Joss Butler.
Turning away 3 runs is counterintuitive.
I agree. Pretty bright sunshine today. A lot of sunscreen and head wear is in evidence.
A lot of people in shorts.
It's not quite Australia temperatures, of course, but who are having an awful time of things. It's you shouldn't complain about hot weather, but it's an awful time in Australia, and thoughts are with them. As up onto his toes goes Butler, pushes this away to mid-off. There's no run, so 322 for 8. 1 for 90 for Trent Boult. He's bowling his 31st over of the innings. We're in the 115th. How long till lunch? Probably 2. I think we'll get this over and 1 more. I'd be surprised if we didn't, as Boult is in. This one is driven. It's driven straight to cover by Butler, and again there's no run.
I mean, that of course is the other factor, is lunch is imminent, so they're probably taking no risks at all.
Yeah, and interestingly enough, actually, New Zealand don't appear to be hustling things along to try and get 1 extra over in. Whereas yesterday I noticed they were really moving things quickly. Short, pulled by Butler, pulled backward of square. There's a man down there, though, at deep square, and they will only get a single if they took it, which they didn't. They didn't. Well, Annie, if you're listening, what do you make of this? You have watched these two through the years. I'm a bit disappointed that Butler doesn't have more faith in Jack Leach. I've got to put my cards on the table and say that. What do you reckon? Let us know. In comes Boult, and lofted.
Boom.
I think that's gone all the way. Yes, that has. Oh, and it's dropped on a tent. Probably 20 or 30 metres back over long off. Terrific shot by Butler. Well played.
And I guess he'll argue that that's exactly
there's
why he
his arm.
didn't take the single.
You came out of your hand and into my zone. Now it's up in the stands. It's a 6. It's beautiful and it's mine.
Bom, bom, bom. Well, no, you're absolutely right, John. He'll be going, well, there's my answer. That's why we didn't run that single, Jack. Because you can't do that. Oh, that's a horrible ball from Boult in reply, and it's a wide. He looked for the bouncer. He's got a bit of an angry look on his face. He doesn't take kindly to being deposited straight back over his head. No quick bowler does. But his response was, I suspect...
extreme.
Yeah. I suspect the heat of the moment and a bit of adrenaline got the better of him, and for a bowler who's normally so controlled, there was very little control about that. 329 for 8. Somehow in my head I'm thinking 400 is a magic number for England, but there's work to do to get them there, as this is cut straight to backward point by Joss Butler, and there's no run. But there'll be, of course, the extra ball in this over because of that aggressive, almost a bit of a tantrum, wasn't it? It was a toys out the pram wide from Boult, who really did not like being quite beautifully, I might say, lofted back over his own head by Josh Butler. His bolt is in, left arm over, onto the back foot goes Butler, pushes it away to mid-off, and there's no run. Now, I suspect we may get an extra over then. New Zealand, I don't think, have to hurry. They're taking their time. Kane Williamson is the man with the ball in his hand. He's giving it a good shine. BJ Watling is jogging rather than sprinting to the far end. The umpires, of course, are strolling in.
Been in touch.
Oh, right.
Tony.
Yes,
to say tube-like towers could be grain silos.
Grain silos, yes. I think
Apparently.
you're absolutely right. That could well be the case. And they're silos. You're brilliant. That was probably the word I was looking for. And this is interesting. We have a change of bowling. We're going to see some spin. The mysteries of Mitchell Santner will be brought into play in what should be, we suspect, the last over before lunch. Bowled 5 overs, for none for 24 so far.
It's the obligatory 1 over of spin
Yes,
before
the
lunch.
token over before lunch.
Yeah,
I bet you hold out, you better not drive, you better not sweep, I'm telling you why.
Campesino Dialectico has tweeted in to say, hello all, weird
Hello.
day here. Daughter having flu and rat getting into the kitchen, just one part of it.
There's a rat in the kitchen, what
That's
am I
not
going to
good,
do?
is it?
Who was that?
UB40.
UB40, of course it was. I knew you'd know, Jason. You're my go-to musical guy. In comes Santner, left arm over. That's kind of slow, sort of stilted run of his. He's certainly going to give Jack Leach something to think about, but he thinks with a calm head for that first ball and just pushes it away to the offside.
Jerky action when he tries to put as much spin on it as he does.
Yeah, he does. I think it's good captaincy by Kane Williamson. I think it'll be interesting to see, because he knows Jack Leach is looking just to play this over out, and he does that successfully enough. With the second ball too, again just pushed away into the offside. 3:29 for 8.
And actually, his action looks a lot more smooth when he's bowling to left-handers. He doesn't have to sort of pivot quite so much.
Indeed, he's in his Santner past Armacina. Straighter this one, and flicked off his legs by Leach, but not a flick off his legs that had any intent of looking to try and take a quick single. I think Jack Leach here is happy in his role, knowing that my job is just to walk into lunch with Josh Butler. Just happily, he might as well take his gloves and his pads off now, because I don't think Jack Leach has any intent of letting him get to that end, the striker's end. And forward comes Leach, as if to prove my point. Rock solid in his defence there. 3:29 for 8. 12 for Leach. 29 for Butler. A real rebuilding job that these two are having to do, and they're doing a decent job of it. And they certainly wouldn't want to be throwing all of that away. The slip crouches down, and Leach just cuts this, but he cuts it straight to backward point. And once again, there will be no run. How much money would you give me, Jason, now for a scoring shot off this last ball?
Odds 10 to 1.
10 to 1 against. Yeah, I would agree with that. Santner coming around the wicket as a leg slip, the forward short leg and the silly mid-off are all in place, and none of them have anything to do, because Leach drops the bat on that. Solid as you like. Limpet Leach has done his job. England have got themselves to lunch, and well, after a bit of a wibbly-wobbly morning where it all could have gone terribly wrong, it went fairly wrong. But these two, John, have done a nice job, haven't they?
Yeah, they've definitely stopped the rot. And even though at 270 odd for 4, you were hopeful of a much bigger score. At least we're in a position at 3:29 for 8 where we've got something on the board.
Oh well, absolutely.
You know,
yeah, no, very much so. I mean, the story of the morning. Ben Stokes was caught by Ross Taylor in the slips off Southey. Ollie Pope went quickly afterwards to Southey as well. Who am I missing? Sam Curran went first ball. LBW to Southey in one that was absolutely
first ball.
As solid, plumb as you like. But Jofra Archer, he also went to Trent Bolt. He was caught by Southey, but Josh Butler has steadied the ship somewhat. He's on 29 off his 46 faced. His old Somerset mate, his old, the lads who have grown up together through that Somerset system, they have been playing well together. Leach is on 12 and has looked utterly untroubled, I think. So well done him. Bowling wise, probably the star of the morning has to be Southey. He's got 4 for 74 in all, but took 3 this morning, including being on a hat-trick at 1 point. And the other wicket of the morning to Trent Bolt. Is that right? That's all the morning? Yes, 4 this morning. So 329 for 8 at lunch. 116 overs have gone. Jason, have you teeing us up some entertainment? What have you got?
We're going to go back to the World Cup game that we were playing yesterday,
which is
New Zealand versus Australia 2015.
Fantastic. Well, enjoy that. Don't go too far. These lunches come and go really quickly. 40 minutes worth, and we've already used up 5 of them.
Don't go to sleep.
Don't go to sleep. Annie, stay with us. Your boys are still there, and we'll see you after lunch.
If you are on a cricket tour and you are looking to get somebody for fines and they're one of the best players in the team and you've got to get something on them to get some money out.
This sounds a little bitter.
No, it's not. I wish I was that good to be in that position, but we have a guy who's a left arm spinner, very good batsman, and that was all we could get on him last tour. It was a catch like that, and he got fined a tenner just for that.
Wow.
Because that was the only thing we had on him.
Trent Bolt is that good. I've seen him pull some absolutely insane catches in the last couple of years.
That is one of the big things that seems to have changed from 10 years ago, from watching people at Harmers and Lumber around the outfield. Bowlers these days as fielders.
Yeah,
I mean, I instantly think of Anderson for England
Anderson's
as well.
Superb fielder.
Yeah, he's a good
That's
catcher
changed.
as well.
That really has changed a lot.